It is the 4th of July, 2016, and this is a special episode of Three Men in an Anime. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Eric Carlson and Sonic Gav and Leaf. How are you guys doing tonight?
Freedom, America, barbecue, machine guns.
Treason!
Also that.
Yes.
Fair point.
So,
Hello, Ollie North.
Hang on. All right, so anybody listening, I'm pretty sure at the end of the last episode you said Captain Tyler was going to be our next show.
Yes!
And we're only halfway through watching that, so what the fuck are we doing?
What the fuck are we doing? We are going beyond plus ultra.
Oh my god.
We are doing a special episode where while we were watching the other shows we've been doing the show on, there's been this little anime that I don't think many people have heard about that we decided was airing contemporaneously along with it was airing live while this was going on, and we decided we decided we were sort of interested in it, just figured we'd watch every episode as it came out. So
It's
the best decision ever.
Yeah,
Bastard show.
It's a show called My Hero Academia. I don't think if anybody else has heard of it or anything like that.
Bullshit.
Bastard show.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about a show that we actually watched as it was airing.
Yes.
Which is unusual for us. Well, for them.
Yeah,
for what we're doing.
Before we start, I will say that is such a fucking torture.
Bastard show. Total bastard show.
We'll go into it as we get on, but for this show, we basically we binge watch, entire seasons of shows.
Yep.
And this fucking thing made us wait.
Honestly, I don't know if we're gonna do a sort of a traditional format of the way we normally do our show, because of the way we watch this is very different, which I think is going to lead to some somewhat different impressions of the show, and sort of how we reacted to it.
Also, because it's really new, I will say I don't want to go too deep into everything because I don't want to spoil this.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have not seen this show,
brand new, go see this. See it now. Stop listening. Go see it, then come back.
Okay, I'm gonna summarize what I think our general sort of opinion of the show is, which is we all loved it. Go fucking watch this.
Yes,
it's very good, and it's a bastard show.
This right. If you've watched one of our normal episodes,
full fucking genius. That's all I'm gonna say.
If you've watched one of our normal episodes, okay, this is now the end. We've given you our final opinion. We love the show. Go fucking watch it. Then come back because we're gonna spoil the fuck out of it.
We're gonna try not to go too heavy into spoilers because, someone might want to listen to past anyways. But, anyways, this I knew this was coming out, and I read the manga because I found out about it through our friends, Chris Rolati-Larios and Nick Weiler of Time, who have a wonderful podcast called Weekly Manga Recap. If you don't know about Weekly Manga Recap, you should. It's really good.
Let's face it, you've not found our podcast without knowing about Weekly Manga Recap.
That's likely true.
But if by some goddamn fluke you found our podcast without knowing about Weekly Manga Recap, I recommend Weekly Manga Recap.
Yes.
Because they do a really good job at going over what's coming out in Weekly Shonen Jump.
We should organize a sponsorship deal with those guys.
Maybe someday they'll plug us.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Whatever. But seriously though, I'm a big fan. They're both my friends. I love the work they do, and I respect the hell out of their show. And I doubt Gav would have come up with the idea for us doing this if they didn't do what they do.
More or
just
less.
along for the ride, guys.
At any rate, I found out about the manga through them. And being a fan of superhero comics, I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And yes, I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for reference as well, because I was looking to pick these up, and good God, I didn't realize how much this series covers. I think 9 volumes have been released so far. I think this first season of the anime covers the first 5 volumes.
Does it?
I don't think it covers that much.
You know what? This is why I don't read manga.
I was going to pick them up, and they were like £10 a volume. and I was flicking through and thinking, oh, okay, volume without spoiling for the thing. Volume 4 ends with All Might showing up at the dome.
Okay.
So
the next gajillion are just a fight. Okay.
No. Basically we are through. No, it's much less than that.
Really?
I believe it
unless
covers
the version I saw wasn't the originals and they're like cut down trade versions or something.
No, it covers the first 2 volumes. It gets into volume 3, and that's where it ends.
Okay, what I must have seen must have been a shortened version or something then.
Yeah, the Tankobon 3. It doesn't. Basically, the series covers the first, I want to say 21 chapters of the manga.
Okay.
So it's not that bad. I'm looking it up online on Wikipedia right now. So.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it covers. So it's basically the 13 episode season covers. It covers roughly like 21 to 22 episodes. 22 chapters in the manga. So
chapters, yeah.
That's not that bad.
No.
The manga space is actually pretty good, Eric. Sorry.
Yeah. Also, one thing I will say as well.
It ruined me.
One more thing before we start as well. If you're choosing to watch this in any way, shape, or form, dub or sub, you can't go wrong. In fact,
the sub's actually damn good.
The sub's so good. In fact, it was recently put out by the guys at Funimation. The audio director and producer of the Japanese version has actually praised the English version as being damn near perfect.
Yep, it's really good.
So.
Yeah, they went out and got Chris Sabat for All Might, and when we talk about All Might, you will understand why that is fucking awesome. But yeah,
some of the best lines.
That has been passed down through the Armstrong line for generations.
At any rate, I found out the show was getting an anime, and I found out when it was going to start, and I suggested to these two that we should watch it as it was coming out because I knew that they would like it. And I wanted to watch the anime. I was going to watch it as it was coming out anyways. So,
yeah,
right.
So that's why we.
Well, I remember you told me about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll give that a shot. And it was just like it was a simple thing to just kidnap Gav and drag him along.
But yeah, we figured, why don't we do it while we'll watch an episode before we watch when it comes out before we do the other our usual stuff.
Yeah. And
that worked out very well.
Yes.
At any rate, My Hero Academia is it's a story. It's about superheroes.
Yeah.
More
it's
accurate.
Kind of a.
Sorry,
It's very much kind of a not a deconstruction. It's so much like a.
No, it's not at all a deconstruction.
No, it's what is it? It's like a take on the Western superhero story done with a Japanese eye, so to speak.
Yes.
Very much similar to like One Punch Man, but in a different style.
Very different way. Also, everyone's in high school because Japan.
Because Japan. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's a story about kids learning how to be superheroes. It's sort of somewhat it sort of is in sort of a similar vein to to Teen Titans in some ways.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
except there's adult supervision.
It's if I'm gonna draw a parallel, I'm gonna draw the parallel to Soul Eater.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about something Western though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it is definitely more like Soul Eater. Yeah. It's a school for superheroes is what it's about. And the main character is let me get the guy's name. Hang on. His full name. I want his full name. It's
Izuku Midoriya.
Izuku Midoriya, whose nickname is Deku. By his childhood, I'm going to use the term loosely, friend.
Huge echo.
Dude's a fucking bully.
Katsuki Bakugo. Bakugo, anyways, Deku is a kid who desperately wants to be a hero. The world in question, the vast majority of people in the world have superpowers. It's just basically a couple of generations ago, someone was born with powers, and then more and more people were born with powers. And at this point, 80% of the world's population have at least some minor superpower.
Yeah, superpowers have basically become hereditary. Family groups have very similar powers.
Right. They're referred to as quirks. And it turns so Midoriya wants to be a hero, and he completely idolizes the world's biggest hero, All Might. Huge fan, and he studies heroes. He studies they're how they do what they do, how famous they are. And there's like the big heroes are incredibly famous, and it's gotten to the point where basically there are officially government-sanctioned heroes to cut down on vigilantism, which makes a certain amount of sense.
Makes a certain amount of sense.
The more powerful heroes tend to form their own agencies, where they will hire sidekicks to work under them, basically, and do work for them.
Yeah, so the heroes are paid to do their job, to do the superhero thing, and it's worked sort of well. That's one of the things you slowly start realizing during the show is that there are heroes who are big damn heroes and are doing the superhero thing because they want to be heroes, and there are some who are doing it for fame, some are doing it for the money, and it's not it's the whole sort of hero thing is not perfect, and they have schools to teach people how to be to teach people how to use their powers and use them and to become heroes and to use their powers responsibly. Which is
because you better fucking have that.
Which is about the only way Bakugo will ever end up becoming a hero, from what we can see.
Yeah, it's one of the things I noticed quickly is that there's a few they're really clever with the powers, in that these kids don't know their own strength at all.
Right.
There are some that, if you think about their power set and what they can, there are a few that have realized it and are downright scary, but there are a few that are just like all nice and they're just kids. But if you really think about how their powers work, are horrifying.
Right. But the big thing about Deku, for at least the first few episodes, is it turns out Deku is one of the 20% who does not have a quirk.
Yeah.
He is a normal person. He's a smart kid.
Both his parents had quirks, so something should have passed down, just didn't.
Right. That happens, apparently. And it's rare, but it happens. And, Deku, is grown up, idolizing All Might, and, he's in kindergarten when the doctor tells him, yeah, no, you have no powers. You're never going to have powers. Sorry, kid.
Not going to happen, kid. Yeah.
All Might being the token guy you'll see on the front of every cover. He's basically Superman.
Yeah. And we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
So Deku pals around with used to pal around sort of the ringleader in his he grew up with, and the ringleader of the group of kids Deku hung around with is Bakugo, who was always a big strong kid, and he developed his quirk fairly early. And Bakugo here's the thing. So Deku is actually fairly smart, and he's resourceful and brave. He's a good kid. And Bakugo is just a natural talent at basically anything he tries to do.
Yeah, he's a walking ball of ego.
And he becomes exactly that. Yes,
yeah.
You see a few flashbacks with Bakugo, where he starts realizing, why is it that no one else can do what I'm doing? Why is everybody so fucking lame? Yeah, he's basically, I must be. I'm fucking amazing, obviously, because nobody can.
Clearly.
So he quickly develops a sense of superiority and has some natural bully tendencies, shall we say? He's got a bit of an anger issue, shall we say?
Yeah,
a little bit of one.
Well, it turns out when his quirk develops, I mean, obviously we're at that point. Yeah, we've already known his quirk is one called Explosion, and essentially his palms sweat nitroglycerin. So it's a pretty impressive quirk.
Yeah, he makes things explode with his fists.
So, he's got that. He like I say, at this point, everything he tries, he's awesome. Everyone loves him. He's this, that, and other. And then he can make things go boom. And everyone praises him more. So, this guy is just fucking... It's a good job his quirk wasn't big head, because he wouldn't be able to get through doors.
Yeah. And, Deku immensely admires him because he thinks Bakugo is amazing. And he's right in a lot of ways.
He's good at everything he does. He can make things explode with his hands. Who doesn't want that superpower?
It's because Deku idolizes heroes, and he can see no other future where Bakugo isn't going to be a hero.
And the one thing in Bakugo's favor is that is what Bakugo wants. He wants to be the world's biggest hero.
Yes.
Now, part of that's because he's an egomaniac. But, Bakugo
just a bit
also admires and looks up to All Might, because All Might is the world's number one hero. So that is who he set his sights on. But again, Bakugo is not a natural hero.
No, he doesn't really know what it means.
Right.
He's good at beating up bad guys, but he doesn't know what it means to actually be a hero.
Yeah. I mean, he's good at beating people up, period.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He
understands the violence part of things very well.
Yes.
It's the whole self-sacrifice, putting yourself before the greater good, yada yada.
If you want to get the idea of that, he's the one on our title card there with the grenades on his forearms.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does violence well.
And he basically, as it became quickly apparent that Deku didn't have a quirk, and Deku was always sort of the tagger along with that group. Bakugo always sort of looked down on him, and the one thing that infuriates Bakugo to no end about Deku is that Deku tries to be the hero, not because it's not even that Deku's it's just Deku's natural instincts of someone's in trouble, I want to help them. Bakugo, they're walking along through the forest. Bakugo takes a slip off a log and falls into a stream. He's totally fine, but Deku, worried that the person he considers a friend has fallen off, he runs down to see if he needs help. And Bakugo is just like, what the fuck? I was fine. I said I was fine before you even got down here. Who the fuck are you to come down and try to help me? I don't need your help, loser.
Yeah. He's basically, everyone is beneath him. He shouldn't need saving by a weakling.
Right. And, at one point, Bakugo starts bullying another kid, and Deku leaps in the way to say, stop that, Bakugo. What you're doing is wrong. And Bakugo basically beats up Deku a bit. Not too badly, but, and we get a scene where Bakugo is at their middle school, where the teacher's announcing, people, that Bakugo is, there are 2 students in class who applied to the top school, top hero school in the country. Bakugo is obviously one of them, and Bakugo is a bit incredulous to anybody else in this class of losers would, and it turns out the other one's Deku, and Bakugo kind of loses his shit.
Yeah.
He's got this whole grand idea that...
Try to challenge my supremacy, you quirkless, quivering mass of neurotic crap.
He's got this grand idea that not only does he want to be the first student from this school to make it to UA, he wants to be the only one as well. And how dare Deku ruin that idea of him, steal his limelight.
Yeah. Because again, Bakugo is an egomaniac.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kids his age, honestly. Again, that's the thing I find most interesting about the show is that most of the students actually come off as high school freshmen.
Yeah, they do a good job with the writing in this.
It's very obvious these are immature kids, and they're trying to figure out what they're doing and where they belong and who they are still. And Bakugo comes across as, the supremely talented, good at everything, arrogant bastard because he's 14 or 15 and doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
And has always been better than everyone around him, and just has never had anyone basically, teach him that how to handle being in that position. And he doesn't have the natural inclination of any sort of humility. Bakugo is kind of a bastard. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Yeah.
But so the next sort of big sort of event is Deku sort of walking along after this confrontation with Bakugo, and he's ambushed by this villain in a tunnel. This villain's this giant sort of slime monster who can basically possess people's bodies by sort of forcing himself in through their mouths and such.
Yeah.
Which is
it's kind of gribbly.
It's kind of a horrifying scene, also, where he's going to do this.
Despite the art style and the rest of it, this show does get kind of horrifying in places.
Yeah.
It's only when you think about the implications. It's shot for excitement, but it doesn't really play up the "oh my god, I'm going to hurl" aspect of it.
Right. It's still the scene where this thing is trying to force itself down Deku's throat and take him over is kind of creepy, and it's intentionally filmed that way. And then, out of nowhere, All Might shows up, and
All Might has been chasing him for a little bit, but yeah.
Well, but we didn't see that on screen. He says that he's been chasing him when he arrives.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, who is All Might? As Gav said, All Might is basically Superman, and this is
better.
Well, better than modern interpretations of Superman. I will definitely agree with that.
Better than Snyder's Superman.
That's not hard.
Of course, said pool of vomit is better than Snyder's Superman. And more heroic.
So, who is All Might? All Might is, as we said, the world's biggest hero. He is super strong, super fast, super tough. Always goes in to do his heroics with a big grin on his face to put people at ease. He's bombastic in a remarkably charming way.
Yeah. He doesn't have a volume button.
No, he doesn't really do things at anything at reduced volume, shall we say. All Might doesn't seem to be aware of the concept of an indoors voice.
Yes, here I come, entering the room like a hero. Okay.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, that puts a smile on my face.
All Might is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's not just that he's the strongest and the fastest, which he is, and the toughest, which he is. He's the number one hero because he is also, on top of all of that, the most heroic.
Yeah, he's known throughout the world as the symbol of peace. I mean, the reason that villain, for example, was here in this city is because All Might doesn't operate in that city normally.
Right.
He's shown up here for unknown reasons.
Yeah, All Might's from the States. He's American. And
in case you couldn't tell, excuse me. In case you couldn't tell by the tan skin and the giant yellow hairdo.
Yes.
Yeah, the fact he wears a red, white, and blue everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing about him is, like, it's not just that he fights villains. I mean, he dives in to save civilians without a second thought. It's like he's
just to cut in there. Sorry, Duani in the chat's brought up it. So you mean he's like Brian Blessed? No, Brian Blessed is fucking calm and shy compared to All Might.
I won't go that far.
Well, Brian Blessed has an indoor voice.
Yeah, he doesn't use it very often.
Doesn't use it very often, but he does have it.
And he very much didn't use it until example Duani's using from the Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. But yeah, All Might is just a couple. He's Brian Blessed up to 11.
He is full of bombast.
Dangerous to think about.
Yeah, he is full of bombast and joy, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, All Might's big debut as a hero is something it's a video that Deku watches obsessively. Watched obsessively when he was a kid because he just loved it so much. Is the scene of this horrible accident. You see these wrecked vehicles, flames burning, and then you hear this bombastic, joyous laughter as All Might comes climbing over a wrecked vehicle, carrying like 10 people on his arms.
Yeah. And his whole
everything
catchphrase
is all right now. Why?
Yeah.
Because I am here.
His whole catchphrase is basically "I am here." It's okay because I am here.
Ghost Direct mentions that that All Might's technically actually Japanese. His name's Toshinori Yagi. I think that's technically true, but
yeah, that's not revealed in this show. But obviously, it's one of those things that we'll go into.
Yeah, technically speaking, Everything about him screams America, though.
Yeah, we'd have to go into the actual his power set and everything else before we explained how he pulls off American. But yeah, it's a great scene where there's like 5-year-old Deku is just sat in a PC chair at his monitor, poking his mum because she has to play that. That scene that she played was like an old scene from a couple of years ago. Deku has it favorited. Deku watches it all the time.
Yes.
He sits there, wide-eyed, rocking in place, grinning like a fucking loon, watching that scene as a 5-year-old. He's
I think he's actually like 3 or 4, and it's about how 3 or 4-year-olds act.
Yeah,
he's actually being remarkably restrained.
And his mom's really. I'm not sure why you like this so much, because it's I find it kind of scary and terrifying. And she's right. It's a scene of a horrible potential tragedy.
Yeah.
Except that All Might's there and has saved hundreds of people on his own because he is that big a hero. And that's what I love about him, is his debut as a hero is there saving lives. That is his priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get into a little bit later on, and again, we'll come into it later on, but All Might, because all these heroes do, eventually we realize he has a weakness. And he risks that weakness for nothing so much as he heard there was somebody in danger. He knew he was kind of pushing his limit, but go on then, I'll get one more saving for the morning.
Right.
Because that's what he is.
The thing with, we should probably describe All Might's weakness, actually.
Yes, well, that's what I'm getting to. We'll get to that right now. So yeah, he shows up, comes in, blows away the slime monster with a single blow, because he's all. So yeah, the monster he's basically impervious to physical damage because he's basically liquid. All Might basically punches him, and doesn't actually directly punch him, is the thing. The wind from All Might's punch
punches the air directly in front of him,
and the concussive air blast basically scatters the monster off of Deku, and then All Might scoops him up and puts him in a couple of soda bottles.
Yeah. All Might's thing, by the way, is basically his attack is always smash.
Something or other smash.
Something or other smash, but the something or other is always a U.S. city.
Or state.
Yes.
Occasionally
state.
Missouri Smash.
Missouri Smash.
Detroit
We've seen
Smash.
Detroit Smash is the one that he uses when he's using the wind, when he's using projecting the force. So which we know we made the usual jokes, and I thought Chicago was the windy city. Shit like that. That's the sort of stuff All Might does. He's so over the top. Plays the part. But it's you can't you just smile every time you see it because it's just fucking ridiculous.
And he is it's not just that it's ridiculous. The thing is, he's so wonderfully just. As I said, he's this giant bundle of bombast and joy and heroics.
But it doesn't go too far. It doesn't go to the goofy side.
Right.
It still manages to. It's over top character, but he's just awesome. He doesn't go too far. He doesn't become an idiot. He doesn't become, even though he does to a degree, but he doesn't become annoying or too over the top. You just realize this is just him. He's not playing a part as such. He really is like this, but that's just the character he is.
Yeah. So
he's
anyways,
genuine.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, he's truly he's genuinely a nice guy. But he saves Deku. Yeah, he basically about to. He's there talking. Sort of laughs a bit. Is about to leave. Deku's like, "Oh wait, I want to ask you for your autograph." Picks up his book that he takes his notes on heroics in. Opens it, and there's All Might has already autographed the book for him.
It's actually a great scene. I have to get him to autograph. I have to get him the autograph here. Blank page. He's already done it.
And All Might's about to leave. Deku basically says, "Wait, I've got so many things I have to ask you." And All Might says, "Don't have any time." Goes leaping off. Realizes that Deku's grabbed onto his leg because he really has to ask him some questions. Tells him to let go. Deku's like, "If I do, I'll fall to my death." All Might's like, "Oh yeah, that's actually a really good point. I'll go land on a roof over there." He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't believe I didn't think of that." But while he's flying through there, he coughs a bit and he starts spitting up a little bit of blood. Lands on the roof. It basically about to leap off, and Deku says, "I've got to ask you a question." And he says, Deku asks him, I desperately want to become a hero. Is it possible for someone like me with no quirk, he reveals that to All Might, to become a hero? And All Might turns around, gives him a big grin, and tells him, "I'm sorry, no."
One of the points though,
he says, "I'm sorry, no," because and he quantifies it. There guy's a lot scarier than the guy in my pocket right now, and they will just kill you.
Yeah,
there is one little. There's a great little part of that scene that I like, because like I said, I've seen it on the original, I saw it on the dub. All Might is like, "No, kid, look, I don't have time. I need to go. I don't have time for this." And he's about to jump, and Deku just comes out with, "I really want to be a hero," and it just stops All Might in his tracks.
Yeah.
And he just stops, even though he needs to leave. And we're going to tell you why in a minute. He needs to leave. Now, this kid has just admitted he wants to be a hero, but he doesn't have a quirk, and he stops in his tracks and thinks about it, and gives this kid this time.
Yeah, and he tells him, "No,
great.
It's great. I agree. Yeah, brilliant, Peter." And so he turns around and says, "No, you." As Eric pointed out, he tells Deku, "It's not that you clearly have just about everything you need, except you'll die.
Yeah,
you'll get killed."
Yeah, he tells him to try for the police force and all this sort of stuff. If there's other ways you can be a hero.
Right, and which is great. I think that's wonderful. Good thinking on All Might's part. And and Deku is crushed by this, but he seems to, but Deku gets it. I mean, he's not an idiot. He gets what All Might's saying. He's not angry at All Might for telling him, partially because of how All Might told him. But All Might doesn't lie to him about it.
Yeah, All Might doesn't lie. Even if the truth sucks, he'll tell it to you.
Yeah.
And he goes leaping off to and he at this point, this is where All Might then reveals, that because he can't maintain his super form all day. Yeah. Because he got badly injured in a fight with another villain, to the point where he's lost, most of he's lost internal organs, permanently.
Yeah.
Like he lost
his stomach, and I think he said something about
his respiratory system is shot or something.
Yeah, his respiratory system's shot, and he's lost his stomach.
Yeah. Fuck. And he's got this huge, just sort of horrifying scar on the left side of his torso.
Yeah, and, right around where his kidney is.
Yeah, and he depowers, and he's left looking like this tall, gangly dude. With his hair all... I
love his depowered character design.
Yeah, with
Holy crap, it's great.
It's a brilliant piece of design. These sunken dark eyes, and his hair's drooping down. It's the same hair.
Yeah, it's the same guy. You can see the same face in there.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job.
It's just skin and bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do a really good job of letting you could stand these two guys side by side. You could probably think, there's a similarity. They might be like brothers or something. But no, they are the same character, but completely different. If you dressed them differently, you probably wouldn't link it together.
Right. In his, when he's Toshinori, he's hunched over because he just doesn't have the energy to stand up straight. And he basically lets Deku in on his big secret. As a way to sort of, he wasn't planning on it, but he knew that he was going to finish talking to Deku about this. He'd have to, just so that he have enough energy to get to the police station and deliver the villain. And he repowers, goes leaping off, and realizes that while he was carrying Deku through the air, he dropped the villain.
No, that's it. He doesn't repower. He doesn't go. He goes for the stairwell.
Oh right, he just walks down the stairs. He just walks down the stairs.
Yeah.
And realizes
and he's like, wait. He's completely cooked.
Right. And he realizes that the villain bottles fell out of his pants pockets. And he's like, oh, fuck. And goes off to look for them. And we then catch up with Bakugo and his buddies. His buddies just, they go sort of shake some people down outside the arcade. Bakugo's like, are you people idiots? That's going to go on my permanent record, and that'll get in the way of me becoming a hero. Not the best rationale for
answer the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sort of the case with Bakugo. And said slime villain shows up and basically tries to take over Bakugo because he'll be an even better puppet for him because he's got powers.
He's got Explodo fists. That's awesome.
Yeah. And, cut to basically huge crowd formed observing it as Bakugo is desperately trying to fight his way out of the slime monster. And the slime monster's having trouble taking him over because Bakugo's really powerful. And, like, there are heroes that are trying to get in, they can't get in because, like, the slime monster is doing everything it can, and, like, Bakugo's trying to fight his way out, and the explosions are getting in the way, and everything. And they're like, and most of them, like, you know, there's a super strong guy there who, it's like, he hits the slime monster, it does nothing, and he's like, fuck! All we can do at this point is wait for someone whose quirk is more suited to handling this. Because for most people, everyone whose quirk basically has one singular power, and they can use it in a lot of varied ways, but they have one power. This guy's power is he can make himself super strong. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't handle this guy. None of the heroes there can handle it. And they're sort of, what the hell do we do? I guess we'll do our best to protect the civilians in the area and minimize property damage, but we can't.
Yeah, but we'll run interference and keep them contained until someone that can actually deal with them shows up.
Right.
They do a really good thing because earlier on in that in the first episode, they show why Deku's so obsessed because he keeps notebooks and he writes everything he sees down and like analyzes heroes and all this sort of stuff. And we see the heroes, you know, a bunch of them all show up and take down this one villain that's rampaging. And then, basically, at this scene, virtually all the same heroes show up.
Yes.
Right.
And one by one, like there's one that's Miss Mountain or whatever her name is. She's basically a giantess.
Lady Mountain. Yes.
Lady Mountain. Yeah. So she basically says, "Oh well, the street's too small. I can't get down there, so I'm out." There's one guy that's basically made of wood, and there's too much fire for him to get near. And he can't really do anything. The guy that's the fire expert that puts out fires is busy putting out fires.
Right.
The strength guy can't do anything because the guy doesn't. So all these heroes, all of a sudden, you see the problems that you mentioned earlier, where the heroes are basically, well, this one's out of my ballpark. Good luck, kid.
Yeah. And so
no
they're waiting for someone to show up.
They're waiting for somebody with the right skill set to show up rather than actually going and fucking saving the guy.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, the crowd's there. Deku's watching horrified. It's like, oh my god, what the hell can we do? What the hell can be done? He's like, and he knows All Might's in the area, but he knows All Might's depowered and can't do anything. And it turns out All Might's
actually there in the crowd also, and he's like, I can't do anything.
And All Might is crushed by this.
Yeah, but all at the same time, Deku is also basically blaming himself for this entire situation because he knows why this villain escaped, and he knows All Might can't help because of him.
Right, and All Might feels horrible because he screwed up. He shouldn't have let the distraction. Deku show him distracted to the point where he didn't notice the guy falling out, and he shouldn't have gone as long as he did without without checking. And so All Might feels just horrible, and he's crushed by the fact he can't do anything here. It's like he's thinking, I'm worthless. I can't do anything here. And then Deku sitting there watching this. Deku charges in to save Bakugo. Once he realizes it's Bakugo, and he looks into Bakugo's eyes and sees Bakugo's just abject terror. He runs into the danger.
He actually does a pretty bright thing, too, in that he instantly goes, as he's running in, he goes, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this. Smart thing to do, blind him, throw my bag at his face.
Yeah, he starts going through his notebooks
mentally
in his head.
Yeah,
mentally, because he memorizes all of this. He's a complete,
he's a giant nerd. He's a giant obsessive nerd, and
we've done a show already. I can't remember which one it is. That basically the guy is such a fucking obsessive over the genre that he's a natural because he understands it, even though he doesn't have the skills. What was it? I could have sworn we've done something like this.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, basically that's it. He's no skills. He's not an actual hero, but he's studied it. He's been obsessive. He's a fan of it for so long. He's got all this stuff memorized that he's an absolute savant when it comes to it.
And he runs, as Eric's right, he throws his backpack at the villain's eyes and just comes diving in and starts trying to pull the slime guy off of Bakugo, desperately clawing at him. And Bakugo is like, what the hell are you doing here? Why did you come? And Deku's like, I don't know. I couldn't help myself. But you look like you needed help. And Bakugo is just like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It infuriates Bakugo, but at the same time, the other heroes that we've already mentioned are just stood around saying, "Kid, what are you doing?" But they're not going in to help because their power set doesn't let them help. They just stood there watching this fucking 10-year-old risk his life because their power set
and watching this unpowered kid go rushing in heedless of the danger is what makes All Might go, fuck it, I've got maybe 3 minutes. I think I can do this.
So All Might forces himself to power back up.
All Might basically he shames All. This is the sort of character he is. All Might is shamed that he stood there going, "Oh, I can't do it because I'm unpowered, I'm tired, all this," and this unpowered little kid has just sprinted in headlong into a pretty dangerous villain that like 6 or 7 other heroes can't fucking handle, and he's just said, "Fuck it, there's someone in danger, I'm going." And All Might is basically just shamed that it takes this to actually remind him what it means to be a hero.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's right. What I said to him is that heroes have to risk their lives. What the fuck am I doing? Of course I'm gonna..."
Right.
So he powers himself, forces himself to power up, and charges in and saves the day.
Yeah.
And, you know...
By punching him so hard, he changes the weather.
Yes!
Yes.
He makes it rain.
And, you know, Deku sort of wanders off in the chaos after getting a lecture from the heroes. That was fucking stupid, kid. You could have gotten yourself killed.
Right.
Which, again, I don't fault them for that.
Yeah. The thing is, these heroes, they're chewing him out for being stupid and all the rest of it. Whereas at the same time, they're praising Bakugo for being so strong and holding out and having such a powerful quirk. So he's getting nothing but fucking ego stroking. Again.
Yeah, but you can see something in Bakugo's eyes when that's happening that he's not buying it, because they're going, "Yeah, you're so powerful, you held it so long." Bakugo's there and going, "Fat lot of good that did me," and you know he knows that All Might wouldn't have gotten there in time if it hadn't been for Deku.
Yes.
As much as it pisses him off, he looks at Deku and goes, "I owe him." He's like, he can't be certain,
how dare he put me in his debt?
Right, exactly. And so, you know, Deku wanders off, and Bakugo comes up to basically bitch at him and basically remind him, "No, I didn't need your help, you fucking loser, you fucking nerd, shut off. Don't do that. You fucking idiot. How dare you show me up?"
I had him right on the ropes the whole time. You didn't need your help.
Right.
Very much that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And he buggers off, and then Deku's like walking home, and All Might comes dashing around the corner.
Like he does, as a hero.
And grinning from ear to ear. And he asks
Deku. He's like just walking, minding his own business, thinking about everything that goes on, and All Might just comes fucking sliding with arms back ninja style round this corner going, "I am here!"
Yeah, and Deku's thinking along the way, you know, like, I've got to get in contact with All Might so I can apologize for screwing things up for him. And putting him in this situation, you know, because you know, he feels terrible, and All Might comes around the corner, and Deku starts apologizing, and All Might says, no, Deku. Midoriya, kid, look, you did nothing wrong. And I have to ask you, why did you do that? And Deku's like, I don't know, my legs started moving on their own. And All Might just sits there and stares at him, and just grins, and basically then says to him, "Okay. Yeah, you know, there's a bit in virtually every big, like all the big top heroes of all time, where something like that has happened, where almost that exact phrase has come up. And you know what? I think I've thought of a way you can become a hero." And Deku's like, "What? Wait, what?" And that's where All Might reveals his other secret. His other bigger secret.
Yeah.
Which is, All Might was not born with a quirk either.
His power set's actually a legacy. It gets passed down from recipient to recipient.
Yeah, and basically, it's sorry if I may. It's a power called One for All, which essentially goes from host to host, and takes their power with it. Not forcefully, it doesn't like just strip it out of them, but when they pass their power on to a new person, they get the combined powers of everyone that's gone before them.
Yeah, so each recipient of the power is more powerful than the one before them.
Yes. Unless in the case of Deku will be, obviously, he didn't have a quirk of his own. Because, the implication is All Might wasn't born with this power, but he will have had something that then added to One for All.
No, All Might specifically states he was born quirkless.
Oh, okay, so he's one. Okay, so One for All has been built up before that. Okay.
Yeah, no, it every iteration becomes more powerful. It's just natively part of what All for One is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like collects powers as it goes.
It does that too.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it's basically each recipient gets it and then hones the power even further as they go around using it and developing it further than it was before.
Yeah.
Right.
By using it and practicing with it and strengthening it, then when they pass it on, they pass on a stronger version than the version they received. And and he tells Deku basically the way it works is, I pass on a bit of my DNA to you. You ingest it, and you will develop the powers. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to give it to you right now, because if you tried to use it right now, you're a 14 to 15-year-old kid. Your body is not trained to handle this level of strength. You will just blow your own limbs off. So here's what we're going to do. Your test to enter Totsuki Academy, not Totsuki, I forgot the name of the academy, but...
UA.
UA, yes. To enter UA is in 10 weeks, I think, something like that. So
it's quite a while.
Better part of a year.
Yeah.
It's not for a while. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to train you. I'm going to train your body to the point where I've come up with a food, a diet, exercise, an entire exercise regimen for the next, until the exam, that will train your body to the point where you'll be able to handle the power, at least survive having it.
I'll give All Might credit. This is a fucking detailed plan. Every meal for 10 months is planned out.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything is planned out.
Yeah. Rest time.
And he basically says to Deku, can you do that? And Deku's like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah. The problem we find, though, is Deku is a fucking psycho when it comes to his own fucking workload. Because he's always had the mindset where he doesn't have a quirk. Therefore, he's got to work harder than everyone else. So, All Might gives him this fucking hell, 10 months of hell training regimen. And Deku pushes it harder.
And he basically collapses at some point. All Might's like, you shouldn't be collapsing at this point. What the... Deku, have you been training during times when when the plan doesn't tell you to? Deku's like, well, yeah. All Might's like, no, you need to rest and recuperate.
This planned out. This is perfectly balanced, and you completely fucked it up. Now we have to rebalance everything for this additional training you've been doing.
Well, again, same time, that whole mantra of Deku's, he cuts All Might. All Might's chewing him out, saying, look, God damn it, you're supposed to stick to the regimen. If you don't want this, then, if you're not taking this seriously, and he cuts him off by he's collapsed face down in the dirt, and he's just saying, look, I'm not like everyone else. I have to work harder than everyone else. And All Might's just looking at him and just like, okay, I'll work you a new schedule, but you fucking stick to it. And yeah, the whole thing he's had him doing is basically cleaning cleaning a beach.
Yeah,
for 10 months.
Covered with a beach has largely become a landfill, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, people just dump everything either there or in the ocean, so it ends up washing up there.
Right.
And they're like the example they give is a full-size double refrigerator. It's just sat there on the beach, and All Might crushes it like a fucking tin can. But it's there, and he's asking Deku to move it. It's like 900-pound refrigerator or something stupid.
Yeah, parts of it they do break down into parts because Deku, as a 15-year-old kid, as ripped as he ends up being,
yeah.
Even at the end, there are things there he probably could have moved in there in totality. And Deku goes through and he completes the training just like the day of, like, All Might shows up there and it's the day of the test. It's morning, and Deku is finished cleaning the breach entirely. In fact, he's cleaned more than the area All Might intended him to clean. Because
he has to go that one step further.
And All Might's
he's not
like,
just clean. Yeah.
All Might just looks at like, God damn it, kid. and part of it is All Might's like, yeah, I've chosen my successor correctly. I came to Japan to teach at UA, which he hasn't told Deku yet, and he's like, okay, but he's like, yeah, I came to Japan to look for a successor, and God damn it, I think I hit it out of the park with this kid. And you know, he gives him the strand of his hair. Deku eats it and runs off to the test.
Yeah, there's a. Yeah, that was a weird thing when I heard that you have to ingest my DNA. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think we all had that same reaction. Was, oh, this could go so badly. This could go. Oh, thank God, it's not the porn version.
Yeah, he's just like, eat this. It's his hair. What? Eat it. What? Eat it.
Don't complain, kid. It could be much worse.
Yeah.
And so Deku goes off to the test, the UA entrance exam test, and you know there are multiple. There's a written test and a practical test, and this is the practical test.
And if I may say as well, this is the point. As much as I love this show up to this point, it only picks up from here.
Yeah. And so, you know, he goes into school, he goes into the test, and it's this big sort of arena thing, and all the applicants are broken into 4 groups, and there are a bunch of robots in the city, which are sort of pseudo-villains, basically, and there are 4 types worth differing amount of points, including one super powerful one, which is worth 0 points. It's supposed to be, yeah, there are sometimes you'll run into things you can't actually handle. You don't have to engage it. You can engage it if you want to, if you think you can handle it. But it's not actually part of it. It's not, you know...
You don't get any points for it.
You don't get any points for beating it.
Yeah, there's no benefit to engaging this.
And so they go in, and we meet a few other characters who become recurring characters. The 2 important ones we meet there are Uraraka, this young girl, who has the ability to, when she touches things, reduce the effective gravity on that thing to 0. She's this cute, sweet, endearing young girl who doesn't seem to think her power is all that amazing. I mean, she thinks it's a good power, but the 3 of us, we all look at this and go, "Holy fuck, that's broken." Ooh.
Yes. Like, oh, the terrible things you can do with that.
Yes. She's one of what I mentioned earlier. She could be absolutely horrifying.
And the other one we meet is Tenya Ida, who is this straight, prim, proper, upright, stick up his ass kid.
He's got a tungsten rod shoved up his ass.
At least that's sort of the way he seems at first. But he's very proper, you know, he's your classic sort of, you know, straight A student, Japanese, you know, he's the straight A Japanese high school student, you know, top of his class, brilliant kid who, you know, follows the rules to the letter, etc. He wears glasses, all about doing things properly and such, and, you know,
yeah,
he seems kind of
take your feet off the desk.
Yeah.
Type, you know.
And so Uraraka, Ida, and Deku are all part of the same group. Bakugo is not in the same group. And so we cut to the test.
They state that they're intentionally making sure that people, that no one from the same school ends up in the same group because they don't want them teaming up.
Right.
Yeah.
Bakugo is upset by this because he can't crush Deku now. And so they go off and do stuff, and they start fighting the robots, and Deku doesn't know how to use his power yet. All Might sort of told him a little bit told him roughly how to use it. He doesn't have a lot of time, but Deku hasn't fully figured it out yet. And so he's running around looking for things to fight, and he's running around and not finding anything. Bakugo, and we see clips of Bakugo just crushing robots left and right because it's Bakugo and he's ridiculously powerful. We see Ida taking some out. We see Uraraka take a few out, etc. And time's running out. In the test.
Yeah, Ida. I don't know if you mentioned. Ida's a speedster.
Oh yeah, I did mention. Ida's power is super speed. He runs really fucking fast.
He has basically engines.
He's got engines in his calves. With the exhaust sticking out. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, when he fully manifests his powers, like chrome exhaust pipes come out of the back of his calves. And he runs at rocket
speeds. Kind of freaky, but yeah.
It's awesome.
But yeah, he's a speedster, but yeah, and yeah, he sees all these other heroes are just basically running around and trashing things and all the rest of it, and even Uraraka's like, because she can, you know, reduce gravity on things. She's floating these robots up in the air, releasing it and smashing them on the floor, and she's racking up, you know, like mid 50s, 60, 70 odd points already.
She's
And these things are only worth. These things are only worth 1, 2, and 3 points each.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten any yet. The few things he's managed to engage get crunched by other heroes before he has a chance to finish them.
To do anything.
We soon realize as well that there is a definite difference in this. That they make it a point. Not all hero sets can do everything.
Right.
So there are the guys that are the combat hitters that know how to fight, and then there are the guys that have got the utility powers, and they've got the guys that have got the powers that are good for for saving people. And there's a clear difference between them, the different skill sets.
Right, but then so Uraraka is moving around, and the super death robot shows up and knocks some rubble on her.
And everyone just books it because there's no point in engaging the damn thing. It's just going to crush them.
Right, they can't beat it. Time's running out. They book out. Deku looks at this and goes, "I'm not getting any points, but oh god, this girl who helped me because he tripped and was going to fall, and she saved him." Right. And Deku doesn't even think about it. He charges in and uses the power, and basically channels the power, the super strength of the power into his leg. Goes leaping up into the air, and then channels all the power into his fist and punches the thing and just destroys the robot to pieces. In the process of doing this, he shatters his legs and shatters his arm that he punches with.
Yeah, just
because his body can't actually handle full power yet, even a little bit.
No, his own muscles basically shredded themselves apart and broke his bones on the in the process. He's now falling down, and his arm and legs are flapping behind him like tapers.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
And Uraraka's had time to free herself, and she saves Deku.
Yeah, I mean he's contemplating breaking his other arm to punch the floor to soften the fall, and she's like, "No, it's okay. I'm going to slap you in the face and make you float."
And he gets medical attention, goes home. The school has a nurse named Recovery Girl, who's awesome, and she basically hyper accelerated the body's ability to heal itself. So she does that for Deku, and his bones and muscles fix themselves. And he goes home exhausted and depressed because he's failed. And
he didn't get a single point yet.
And he gets an email from All Might, who then reveals to him that the other reason I'm in Japan was to teach at UA. My plan was to teach at UA and find my successor amongst the students there. And I know you're probably crushed and thinking you didn't get in, but let me show you this film first. And it's this video of Uraraka who's walked in to talk to the teachers and basically says, "Look, Deku saved me. Can I give him some of my points? Because he deserves to be here."
She comes up with a great comment where she heard him panicking, running around while he was trying to do something. It was like he's basically running around saying, "Come on, just let me get one, just one. I just need one." And he's like, and she's like, "Did he not get anything? Can I give him some of mine? Otherwise, since I'd be dead."
Right.
Yeah.
And the teacher basically tells her, "No, you can't give him any points, but don't really worry about that, because beating the robots weren't the only thing."
Don't worry about that. We have things covered.
Because it turns out they weren't only being graded on fighting. Deku got rescue points.
Yeah. A lot of them.
He got a perfect hero saving people score.
Yeah, because basically what was happening is while they were doing this, the faculty were watching each of the rounds, and yes, okay, you can score 1, 2, and 3 points by destroying the robots, and people were getting high scores, but they also had additional points to hand out to people doing heroic things in heroic ways, or in at least normally, obviously, that sort of situation wouldn't arise. There's not always somebody to save. It just so happened there was, which inspired, he got a little bit lucky with that, did Deku. But they can still see people doing things in ways that would be, heroic, like that heroic. Because other people got hero points as well. They didn't save anybody, but they did things in ways that you could tell they were being mindful of what's around them. They were not causing additional damage to property.
Right.
Not putting, doing things that would normally put the public in danger, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But Deku doing this huge act of actually risking his life to save someone to destroy this fucking Godzilla of a robot.
Right. Knowing that he wasn't going to get points for it.
Exactly, yeah.
And Uraraka got hero points too. Deku got enough hero points for that to take him from dead last to like 8th.
Yeah.
Bakugo led the list because he crushed everything in his path.
Right, because he's got Explodo fists.
And Uraraka got pretty high also, because she had a reasonable number of robot defeat points, and she got hero points for saving Deku. And so,
yeah,
he gets into school, and at this point they do some testing on their powers and such, and we are introduced to their homeroom teacher. Deku ends up in the class with Uraraka, Ida, and Bakugo, and some other students.
Yeah.
And so the next test, we meet their homeroom teacher, Aizawa, whose hero name is Eraserhead. Aizawa was introduced in a wonderfully hilarious way. As, Uraraka is standing in the doorway, sort of, ecstatic that Deku did make it in, and she's so happy to see him, and so thankful that he saved her. And Ida basically is sitting there going, "Oh my god, you figured out how the other part of the test, I didn't figure that out. You must be really smart. I completely underestimated you, Deku. I'm so sorry." And Deku's like trying to say,
But I really, and then he gets interrupted by
Aizawa out in the hallway, who's like, "You guys are being really noisy," as he's lying there in the hallway in a sleeping bag.
Yes.
He looks like a friggin' caterpillar, because
yes.
he's got it all pulled up
a
around
lot
his
of time
face.
in his sleeping bag.
Yeah. So he gets up, unzips himself from the bag, walks in the room, and is this very sort of dour and very critical teacher in a lot of ways. His personality is in a lot of ways sort of the opposite of All Might, in that, he's very analytical and calm, and he's, he's
blunt, really. He doesn't pamper or baby them. He just sells them straight.
Yeah. And so he sets up their first test, which is basically the sort of typical physical fitness test that students take in Japan. And they had this in school, but in middle school. But when they took it in middle school, they were forbidden to use their powers. And this is involving things like how far can you throw a baseball, how fast can you sprint, do a side-to-side leap thing, whole bunch of stuff, And basically he says, "Okay, so we're going to do this test, except use your powers."
Yeah.
And by the way, and an important note, if someone ends up last in all the categories, they flunk, they're out of school, because that will mean that you just do not have the potential to be a hero. I'm sorry, but that's the way things are.
Yeah.
Now, it turns out it's revealed later that Aizawa said that to motivate them and wasn't actually going to do that. But
actually, I think he does say to All Might later on that he probably would have done if if there was someone that didn't show potential.
Oh, if they literally showed no potential, it wasn't the score that mattered. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the ranking. It mattered, if they really did show no potential.
Yeah. And he was he was coming down hard on Deku, because he was expecting him to do exactly the same as he did in the warm-up, break his body on the first attempt, on the first event, and then flunk out.
Right, but so they do a bunch of tests, and Deku keeps coming in last, and they gets back to the baseball thing. And Uraraka basically reduces the baseball's effective, the gravity of the baseball to 0, and throws it, and it just goes off into space.
She gets an infinity
on the distance.
Everyone else gets a distance. She gets an infinity symbol.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're like, we have no idea where
it's not coming back.
We can't quantify that, so we're just going to give you infinity. We're pretty sure it broke orbit because it has no mass, which means it's not affected by gravity, which means you throw it, it's just going to keep going.
You owe us a baseball.
And so Deku winds up like, "Okay, fine, I'm going to use I'm going to use my strength. I don't care if I hurt myself." And Aizawa then basically uses his quirk, which is if he's looking at someone with his eyes, he can basically, as long as he keeps his eyes on them and doesn't blink, he can shut their quirks off.
Yeah.
And he shuts Deku's quirk off, and he's like, "Okay, look, kid, I know what you're about to do. And I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you can you use your powers and to the point where I know you can't control your power, but if you do this and you break your arm, you constantly are breaking your arms. Yeah, sure, you'll win that one little bit of the battle, but you're out of the fight then, and everyone else will have to cover for you. And
yeah, you become a liability. You can't if you throw if you're completely helpless after throwing your first punch, you're no use to anyone.
Right. And he basically says to him, okay, so I'm going to let you go. You get your second chance, because Deku throws the ball and it goes nowhere. And he says, I'm going to give you your actual chance now. If you want to do what you were about to do, go ahead. But that's basically just going to prove to me you really don't have what it takes to be a hero. Or, and he basically doesn't really say that out loud. He says, do what you're going to do, but just know that if you keep doing that, I can't have you in this class.
Yeah.
And so he sits there thinking, okay, so what are you going to do, kid? Are you going to basically break your bones? Are you going to basically go down fighting like that and break your bones and flunk out that way? Or are you just going to not use, crumble under the pressure and not use your power and flunk out that way? I interested to see what you do.
All the time while this is going on, All Might is creeping around the corner just watching the entire fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thinking like, dear, oh God, Aizawa, you are so... because they went to school together. They went to school together, and they didn't really get along. Because All Might is all bombast and everything about All Might, it just irritated Aizawa, and vice versa. Because the thing is, they both respect each other as heroes.
Right, they're both just clearly in it for the right reasons, but they have completely different ways of approaching it.
Right.
Yeah, Aizawa hates the press, whereas All Might's happy to stand in front of the camera. All Might's happy with the attention as long as it's to motivate and raise people. Aizawa doesn't want to do that. He just wants to get in, do the job, and get out.
As an aside, it is very much the Batman-Superman interaction.
Yes.
Very much.
Aizawa is Batman, but nice.
Aizawa is like, honestly, is a lot like the DC Animated Universe Batman, except with an actual power.
Yeah.
Oh God, Batman that could turn off people's powers.
Yes. Yes.
As if he's not broken enough already.
Right. Well, he's not quite as well, we have no idea if he's the Detective Batman is. At any rate, and he's not super rich, so.
No.
And Deku sits there thinking, and he eventually comes up with a plan. So he throws the baseball and channels he doesn't use any of the power until the ball is on the tip of his finger, and channels the all for one into the tip of his finger, and uses that to flick the baseball forward, breaking his fingertip, but nothing else.
Yeah. Nothing else.
And managing to get a decent score.
Actually, he beats Bakugo's distance.
Yes.
Right. Who was the next highest after
Uraraka.
Yeah, Uraraka.
And Bakugo's like, what the fuck? Deku has no powers.
Yeah.
What the
that's
fuck?
The point as well.
Are you crazy? Did you see what he did during the test?
Yeah, he's saying like Deku has. He's talking to Ida, and he's like, Deku has no powers, and Ida's like, the hell are you talking about? Did you see what he did in the test? He shattered the super robot. Bakugo's like, what?
What?
Yeah, it's the first time Bakugo's even realized that he does have a quirk.
Right.
Now he's got a power now. He's like, wait, what? What is he doing? He shouldn't be here. He doesn't have a quirk, and everyone's like, the fuck are you talking about? And Bakugo spent this time like, what? The fuck are you talking about?
And so the ball, Deku turns to Aizawa and says, "See, I didn't break my arm. I can still move. I can still fight." And Aizawa's like, he has this expression of, "I'm not sure whether to be angry or impressed."
Yeah, son of a bitch.
Because it's like, this kid's a lunatic in a lot of ways, but that was really smart what he did. Yeah. All right, you might actually have potential to be a hero.
And All Might's in the background just like, fuck you, Aizawa.
I was right.
They're basically both like in their own internal monologues at the same time. They're like, this fucking kid.
Yeah, Aizawa is like legitimately like, okay, I'm actually impressed. The kid, this kid, his personality reminds me of somebody. This kid's attitude just is driving me nuts. He reminds me a bit of All Might, and All Might's like, This kid. Because All Might's like, it's All Might's like, I wouldn't have thought of that. Because again, Deku is actually really smart.
Yeah, he's stupid smart. He has. That's probably that's a contradiction in terms. He's incredibly smart and very genre savvy.
Yes.
Like he knows everything what's going on. He glances at a hero, even a generally unknown one like Aizawa, because Aizawa doesn't get any media coverage. He goes, "Hey, I know that guy. I know what his powers are. That's cool."
Right.
Yeah. But he's one of those. It's like if anyone, there's All Might notices with him. There's a thing. Certain things spark. He's quiet, shy, and reserved until certain things. And what we see in the show, we haven't seen the other one quite yet. But there's two things that set him off. One is his ability to be a hero. The other is Bakugo, and his reasons for trying to stay with Bakugo. Well, not with him. I mean, like on level, on par.
Yeah.
And it's like literally the whole thing is Aizawa has just challenged him and told him, "You fuck this up, you don't get to be a hero." Deku's instant response, doesn't matter how worried, scared, or anything else he is, challenge fucking accepted.
Yep.
And that's just his mindset. He's like, okay, I'm gonna fucking show you. I'm gonna work something out. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna figure something out, and I'm gonna succeed. Because I want to be a hero.
And Deku's a planner, at heart.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job as well in this show, just to cut away. Again, we'll see it a little bit later on, but they do a really good job in the show of letting you know Deku's a planner without being obvious. They don't go, like some bad shows would literally have the guy monologuing in his head, telling you exactly what he's about to do and then do it.
Right.
Whereas with this show, Deku does things, and you realize there's no way he did that on a whim. He must have planned that out. But we don't need it explaining step by step. We understand what he was doing, why he did it. And it doesn't... This is a high school show that doesn't treat its audience like stupid high school idiots.
Right. And the other thing is, and from time to time, Deku will say something that, like, when the other character has a reason to question, why did you do that? He'll explain why he did it.
Yeah. It's like, no, because that made sense when 1 + 1 = 2, you do this.
Right. And so, they move forward to, and they also have other characters like see what Deku did and go, oh my god, that's clearly what his plan was. And as they state, it's sort of like, this kid, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so it comes to the next sort of school testing, which basically All Might's teaching this part of it. He breaks the kids up into pairs, and then they're going to have this sort of one pair, and they breaks it into a bunch of encounters. There's 16. I think there's 16 students in the class, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
And so it's broken up into 8 groups of 2, and they're pairing the groups of 2 up against each other. So one pair will be playing the villains in the scenario. One pair will be the heroes. And the villains have a quote nuclear bomb, in air quotes. It's a paper mache bomb thing.
Yes.
In a building, which the heroes won't know where in the building it is. And the heroes basically have to go into the building. They've got 15 minutes to get in the building and touch the bomb. The other way the heroes can win is to tie the villains up with what's called capture tape. The villains win if time runs out, or they tie the heroes up with capture tape.
Yeah.
Simple test.
And the great bit when All Might is describing the scenario, they're like, wow, that's really American.
Yes. And so Deku is paired up with Uraraka. A bunch of other teams are paired up, and Bakugo is paired up with Ida. And of course, Deku and Uraraka are signed as the heroes against Ida, and Bakugo as the villains.
Yeah. This is also the first point as well where they've got their costumes.
Yes.
Yes.
They got this whole bit about how everyone gets to submit if they know they're going to be in they get to submit to this clothing company that basically makes their costumes for them.
Right.
But Deku didn't realize he was going to get in and didn't know in what way his powers would work, so he never submitted it. So he's totally gone down the kick-ass route, and his mom's bought him a wetsuit.
Yeah, he's got an outfit that his mom helped him put together, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
his mom's actually pretty awesome.
Deku's mom is fantastic. I love her.
Deku's mom is awesome.
But yeah, he's got this sort of green sort of quasi tracksuit thing, with this sort of helmet thing with bunny ears, which are very silly looking, and a sort of visor which has these sort of like teeth thing along the bottom. And you look at it, you're like, this looks really silly.
Like a gas mask or a jaw guard.
Right. And you're looking, it's like, this looks really silly. And then you realize, wait, those ear
things. It looks
like
a goat.
Right, kind of like a goat. Honestly, he looks a bit like the rabbit from Donnie Darko in some ways.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes.
But you look at it, you're like, wait a minute, this is a stylized sort of image of All Might. Because All Might's got this sort of big, sort of antenna-like hair coming up top of it, from in front of his hair, and he's got that big, always got the big grin. It's like
the big grin, and even All Might's just looking at it, it's like, oh my god,
God,
you have to be
so obvious.
fucking obvious.
Uraraka loves it and thinks it's adorable looking.
Uraraka thinks it's a bunny.
And Bakugo's reaction is, oh my god, this fucking nerd. But yeah, so the test starts between those two teams, and Bakugo basically tells Ida, you stay here, guard the bomb, I'm gonna go crush Deku. And Ida's like, we should come up with a plan. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
But what about the plan? We're supposed to be working together as... why am I stuck with this guy?
Yeah, his reaction is, well, Bakugo's really strong, so odds are he might be able to make that work. I can come up with a plan to defend the bomb on my own. Fine. I can work with that.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Bakugo's only intention in this is this is the first time he's been paired off against Deku. His one and only intent is to crush Deku.
He's like, I've been given permission to fight Deku. This is perfect. I will put Deku completely in his place and crush him.
Yeah.
And so Deku's sitting there with Uraraka, and he's basically like, and Uraraka's like, aren't you scared? And he's like, yeah, I'm terrified. Bakugo is really strong, and Ida's really smart. But we got to do this, and I've got some ideas. So they go in. Bakugo confronts them almost immediately. He basically comes crashing with his exploding punch, and Deku dodges because he's sort of expecting Bakugo to come at him at some point.
Right, he's like, and he'd be right about dodge.
Yeah.
And Bakugo starts fighting him, and for a while, Deku is beating him on martial arts skill.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. After that first encounter, they have a bit of a mouth off. Deku tells Uraraka to go and try and find the bomb, and he'll handle Bakugo. And Bakugo's like, yeah, you'll handle me. Like, fuck you will. And just swings at him. And Deku steps into his guard, and Judo throws him.
Yeah, and Judo throws him. And basically...
And his explanation is because you always lead with the right.
Because
Deku has taken notes of every hero that he knows.
Every hero, and especially the ones...
Including Bakugo.
And especially the ones he thinks are special. And Bakugo makes that list.
Yes.
And he explains that.
He knows every trick that Bakugo has. He knows how he'll fight. And he can analyze even that point where he explains Bakugo how he's able to win against him in this, how he's been dodging all his attacks because he knows how he fights. Bakugo attempts to try and change how he fights. And Deku's like, okay, so he's adapted his style. He's not leading with the arm anymore. Okay, I'll just have to be more careful.
Deku basically approaches the fight as if he was Batman.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, he approaches the fight like he's playing a video game.
Well, that's the thing is...
He knows the character's moves, so he just has to watch out for the tells.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is, that's how Batman operates against people with powers.
Oh. Yeah.
And Deku's like, I can't use my powers. I'll just end up shattering my bones and everything. I gotta beat him without using my powers. Bakugo's saying, I know you now. Now I know you have a quirk. I want to beat you when you're fighting at your best. God damn it, use your fucking quirk. And Deku's like, nope. And he basically used the cap shape to wrap around Bakugo's arm to throw him and all this stuff. It's great.
Yeah. And all the while, Bakugo thinks that Deku is basically making fun of him.
Right.
It's like, oh, you had this really powerful quirk all along, so you've got into UA with this powerful quirk that you were always intending to use, telling me you're powerless, basically shattering his ego because that's Bakugo. He's like, oh, you were doing this, you had all this power even when we were in high school, in junior school, and you never revealed it, and you're just trying to embarrass me and show me up and steal my limelight. And it's like, dude, calm down.
Relax, dude.
And,
relax.
Deku eventually realizes, okay, I got to break and slow things down here. He runs off. Bakugo chases him and tries to drag him down. Uraraka gets down.
Urihara runs off to try to engage Ida.
And she gets down there. Ida's practicing his villain monologue because he's got to play the villain properly, and it's hilarious.
Like, I'm going to be a villain, so if I have to be the villain, and I'm not happy about being the villain, I'm going to do it correctly.
He starts monologuing.
Yes. He does it, and he does that, and it's gloriously cheesy, and Uraraka, who's hiding, can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
Giving away her position.
Gloriously cheesy.
It's like literally over the radio. Deku checks in with her, and it's like, "How are you doing?" And she's like, "I found the bomb. Ida's here, and he's monologuing."
And she cracks up a bit, and he realizes she's there, and he reveals that using his super speed, he's gone through the entire room and removed every bit of debris that possibly she could use her power on.
Yeah.
So she's like, "So you've got nothing to use against me, ha 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 ha!" And she's like, "Okay, well, here's the trick that you probably don't know about." So she runs out of. Proceeds to touch her hands together and reduces her own gravity. And goes leaping over him. And she's like, okay, this takes a lot out of me to do this, but then once I'm over, I'll turn off my quirk and then land on the bomb. It'll be great. And Ida's like, did not know she could do that.
Wait a minute, I see what you're doing.
And he goes sprinting back, grabs the bomb, and runs away with it. Because, again, it's made out of paper mache. And he's like, nope, good thinking, but no. And at this point, things are, and Deku's analyzing the situation, and he basically says, okay, Uraraka, what I need you to do, Bakugo finds her, he's like, okay, Uraraka, what I need you to do is move to this position in the room, because he now knows what floor the bomb's on. And just wait there. I'll tell you when to act. And he basically starts dealing with Bakugo, dodging and weaving. And Bakugo proceeds to actually do a few things Deku didn't know he could do. He does this bit where he basically comes leaping at him to attack him. Deku dodges it, knowing it's the sort of type of thing that Bakugo will do. And then he uses the explosions on his other hand to basically propel himself into a roundhouse kick behind him.
Yeah.
And Deku's
and even the other students that are watching are like, wow, that's actually a really difficult ability to do, to change your momentum in midair and basically ride the force. That requires some fucking control. That's really well done.
Yeah, and one of them's like, I never would have pegged him for a tactical thinker like that.
Well, considering he's literally raging and screaming. He's gone berserker rage at this point, but he's still pulling this sort of stuff off.
Yeah, he's very angry and loud, but it's very clear he's thinking while it's going on. Because, again, Bakugo is actually really good at everything he does. Mm. It's one of the things, it's like, Bakugo is a monster. And it's not just raw physics. It's not just raw power. He's got a brain up there too.
Well, you say he has, and then he does something really stupid.
Well, yeah. Yes, his brain gets overruled by his rage occasionally.
Yeah.
But he is smart, is the thing.
Yeah.
And Deku basically comes in, and Deku realizes that at this point, okay, I can't beat him without any power, without using my power. Fuck. Okay, I've got one shot at this, and it's gonna suck.
Well, this is just shortly after, he's revealed, like, the secret of his costume as well. This how serious and over the top that Bakugo's getting. Essentially, while he's been fighting, obviously, like as we mentioned, the sweat of his hands, can cause explosions. But while he's not actually been physically fighting, the gloves, those big grenades that he's been wearing, have been collecting the sweat.
Right.
To the point where if he pulls the pin, he can fire a blast.
Right. And
which damn near levels the building. Even All Might's over the PA's like, Bakugo, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. You're gonna end up killing him. And Bakugo's answer is, what was it? I won't kill him if I don't.
It won't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, he also says it's not powerful. I'm certain this blast's not powerful enough to kill him. It'll put him out of action, but it won't kill him.
Yeah.
And so
which is the only thing stopping All Might from stopping the fight, because he's saying, okay, well, he's still in control. And for Deku's sake, he needs to finish this.
Right. And so he's about to pull the pin in the other glove, and All Might's like, look, no. A, you might kill one of your classmates. B, you're doing something that a villain wouldn't do. It's not that the villain wouldn't try to kill the hero. The villain wouldn't blow away their fucking hideout.
Yeah, you're gonna bring the entire fucking building down on you.
And Bakugo's like, so if you do it again, you guys lose. And Bakugo's like, fuck, he's right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Don't use the super explodo blast. Fine, I can beat Deku anyways. So he comes in. Deku proceeds to block Bakugo's supercharged right, and then swings back at him with an uppercut. And but knowing that Bakugo is going to do something to reduce the impact of the power, we don't know that he knows that until we realize what Deku's actually done.
Yeah, well, he's going in with his arm up as if he's going to throw just like a cross.
Right.
And then just at the last moment switches his position, so it's like it's coming up for an uppercut.
Right, and so the shockwave for the punch goes up and proceeds to rock the building and damage it to the point where the pillars of the room where Uraraka and the bomb are with Ida break apart. So the building, it starts collapsing. Some of the pillars start breaking. So Uraraka realizes what Deku's done, grabs the broken pillar, reduces gravity, and she reduces the gravity on the various bits of rock and debris, and proceeds to basically improvise a special attack where she basically uses the giant now weightless pillar to bat the debris she's got floating at Ida in this hailstorm of debris, forcing Ida to dodge about and then giving her time to leap across and land on the bomb, letting the heroes win with time running out. And
the more important part of this, though, is what's happening downstairs.
Right.
Because Bakugo is like, he's gone out, he's punched, and he thinks he's nailed. But as this punch comes up, you just see his face go from anger to, holy fuck, what am I dealing with?
Right.
Yeah, because as the smoke clears, he sees that Deku just ate it straight on the face to get the win.
He did block the punch with his left arm. And his costume is wrecked in the arm, and the arm is all burned up. But Deku's sitting there still standing, though exhausted. And Bakugo's like, and he realizes what's happened. And he's like, that was your plan all along. Oh, fuck you. And the Deku
he basically just took it straight. He sacrificed his left arm at the same time as sacrificing his right arm to deliver the actual punch.
And the Deku basically tells him, look, I can't beat you with my power because it breaks me. But I'm trying to. It's not. I'm not underestimating you. I don't underestimate you, Bakugo, at all. I respect you so much. I have to do this in order to win. And Bakugo's like, the fuck is with you?
It's like,
but he's also completely gutted because he's like, I went all out and Deku beat me.
Yeah, he lost.
I lost to Deku. I went all out and lost to Deku.
And Deku gives this whole speech like, I didn't want to beat you with the power because it breaks me. But more importantly than that, I wanted to beat you on my own without the power because you're fucking awesome.
Right. And so Bakugo walks out of the thing just like gutted and like, oh my god, what's wrong? What's happening? And they watch the other students, and we see some of the other students, like Todoroki, he's got the quirk of fire and ice. His left side basically can freeze things, and his right side can burn things, or vice versa. I forget exactly.
He's fucking scary, is that kid?
He's this sort of tall, very seems sort of cold and distant. The left side of his face has this large burn scar on it, and he's ridiculously powerful. The amount of area he can freeze is crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't bother going into the building. He tells his ally to stand outside and just freezes the entire building.
Right. He basically looks at his ally, goes in. His ally's got crazy sensory powers. Figures out where the bomb is. Tells him. He says, "Okay, go back outside. I don't want to freeze you." Freezes the building and just walks in. And the villains he walks by, looks at him and says, "Okay, yeah, you could move here, but you're currently barefoot. So if you move, you'll actually tear the skin off the soles of your feet. That'd probably be a really bad idea. So just sit there and chill."
Yeah.
Walks up, tags the bomb, and then melts all the ice. We see a bunch of all the other ones. We see a bunch of the other heroes doing stuff, and we see that, and Bakugo's reaction to seeing Todoroki fight is like, "Oh my god, he's a monster. He might be more powerful than I am."
Yeah, this is Bakugo's realization, because not only does he see all these other guys that obviously it's like all of a sudden, oh, I've been sat in a classroom with people who could probably kick my ass. Right. I can't. He literally says, I can't fight that power set. How do I get near him?
Right.
He realizes he's got weaknesses, and at the same time, when they're doing in between the fights, they break them down and like discuss each other's plan. So they discuss the fight between Deku and Bakugo. They discuss the overall plan.
And All Might says, okay, my MVP for this fight is Ida. Does anyone in the class know why? And this girl raised her hand and proceeds to explain exactly why in crazy detail. And Bakugo's like,
not pulling any punches.
Not pulling any punches, tearing Bakugo, what Bakugo did apart. And Bakugo's like, I hate her, but she's right.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. I was a big fish in a small pond, wasn't I? I'm in the ocean now.
Yeah.
I actually have to work now. Fuck.
And so, that's sort of where it wraps up. That bit wraps up. Deku eventually, goes off. Basically he's healed up again. He goes off and realizing that Bakugo is left to go home early. Deku goes running off to basically talk to him because he's got something he has to tell him. He just feels like so he goes up to him and proceeds to explain. He tells him the deal with how he got his power. He doesn't tell him it was All Might who gave it to him, but he says this isn't actually my power. I don't know how to use it yet. I haven't made it my own. That's why I have to try to surpass you, but I can't do that until it's actually mine. And Bakugo's like, the fuck are you talking about? And basically says, I've realized now that
with me, kid.
But it's like I don't give a damn whether it's yours or not or whatever. You beat me. I have to find a way to pay you back for that. And there are other people here who are also better than I am currently, so I have to beat them too. And my goal is to surpass All Might. So, fuck.
As if on cue. There you are.
Yeah, All Might comes running out to try because he was originally going to try to console Bakugo and basically walk through some of the stuff with him because he actually admires some things about Bakugo, but unfortunately his power was running out, so he couldn't do that. He comes out to talk to him now. Bakugo's like, starts giving words of encouragement. Bakugo's like, could you take your arm off my shoulders? I get it. Don't worry about it. He basically tells him exactly sort of what he's feeling and walks off and All Might's reaction is, oh, he got over that a lot faster than I expected him to.
Yeah, he's like, All Might, take your hands off me. I'm going to be better than you, and I'm going to do it without your help. He's like, all
right
okay.
then.
All right, that kid's ego is stronger than I thought it was. I would have assumed that if someone's ego like that, losing like that, his ego would have been shattered. He'd be a wreck. Okay then. And he gets Deku to tell him that Deku spilled the beans, and he's like, dude, Deku, I really do appreciate the way you're thinking there, but you can't tell people about this.
Yeah.
If people know that the power you got was inherited, they'll come after you so they can steal it from you. And Deku's like, oh.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So yeah, please don't tell anyone.
All they have to do is shave your head.
It's like, don't tell anyone. And Bakugo, it's like, I don't think Bakugo actually believes you because he wasn't in the right mind space to, but don't tell anyone else, please.
Yeah.
And this is where we start seeing some of the things seeing some of the villains. Because there are villains in the show.
Yes. Oh God, there are villains.
Yeah.
And God.
Right. So we cut forward a bit. There's the press have surrounded the school. They're trying to get because All Might's. It's been announced that All Might's there teaching. They're ambushing students, trying to get them to tell things about All Might. There's some really funny bits that are in there.
There's a great bit in the dub at the very least. I mentioned this the other day. It's one of the latest episodes just come out in the dub. And the guy that who is it? Who voices Bakugo? Clifford Chapin, whatever. It's a great delivery where they're like, one of the presses up behind Bakugo saying, "Hey, can you tell us something about All Might? Hey, aren't you the kid that got held by that goo monster?" And Bakugo just stops dead without even glaring around. He's just like, "Just walk away." and the press is like,
okay.
Yeah,
leaving now.
But the press is very frustrated. They eventually, Aizawa and some of the teachers show up, and they're like trying to get them to talk. Aizawa's like, "No, we're not having any of this. No comments. We're going in to teach. Go away. Shoo, go away." Walks in. One of the reporters tries to follow him, and the school's door slams shut in her face, and she's like, "The fuck?" And one of the other reporters is like, "Yeah, they've got this system that if you don't have the pass for the school, the place just locks itself down and you can't get in." And she's like,
yeah. This is
what?
some heavy duty, like fucking steel door slam shut. Fuck
Right.
off.
Yeah.
And there's a giant wall around the school. And then later on the day, like, so Deku, Uraraka, and Ida are at lunch talking with each other, and we find out that Ida's actually from a family that's a long line of heroes.
Yeah, this is one of the ways that you find out about, I mean, it's mentioned earlier, but it's like hereditary powers. So Ida's from a long line of not just heroes but speedsters.
Right, but they're all like big famous heroes.
Yeah,
And he really tells him what his brother is like a really famous hero, and like, so he's talking about his brother and how much admiration he has for his older brother. He starts, and like Uraraka's like, I've never seen you smile, Ida. And Ida's like, what? I smile all the time, don't I? No? Oh.
No.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, they're like, you're always so serious. And he's like, huh, I didn't think about that. But at this point, like, the alarms start going off because there are intruders on the grounds. And it turns out it's actually just the press. Somehow the door got broken down and they're flooding the place.
Before this, we should mention that they held elections to be the class representative.
Right.
And everyone's like, I'm going to be the class representative.
Right. And so basically, Ida basically says we should vote for the class president. We should have just a silent vote. We should have an anonymous vote type thing. I'll write the name down on paper and submit it. And Aizawa was like, I don't care how you do it, just pick one. And like someone points out, everyone's just going to vote. Everyone who wants to be the president will just vote for themselves. No one's actually going to win. And it turns out that with 3 votes, Deku is president, and the girl who did the analysis, what's her name? Hang on. I can't pronounce her name all of a sudden.
Yayorozu.
That's it. Thank you, guys. Yayorozu comes in second with 2 votes, and everyone's like, who? And Bakugo's like, who the fuck voted for Deku? And you see Uraraka going, I'm not going to say anything because
I'm not saying nothing.
I'm not pissing off Bakugo.
The elder's like, I know I should have voted for myself, but
and he basically he says out loud, I should have voted for he's like, I should have voted for. Everyone's like, wait, you didn't vote for yourself? He's like, well, no. That seems kind of cheesy. And B, of course I voted for Deku.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Ida's got this idea that he overthinks things so much. He doesn't realize that Deku is reacting purely on instinct.
Right.
He doesn't get that mindset. Everything has to be thought out, planned, and analyzed.
Yeah, he's assuming that Deku is like Deku did figure out the test, whereas Deku just did it to be a hero, not because he knew.
He thinks
because
Deku
he's looking for points. Right.
He thinks everyone thinks like he does. Like he analyzes things, he works things out, he gets to the logic of the matter. Whereas Deku reacts purely on instinct, and he doesn't realize that's how Deku works.
Right. The other thing is, you also get the impression that just even ignoring that, Deku has come to admire, Ida's come to admire Deku a lot, and like everyone basically looks at the votes have gone. And they're like everyone's like reaction is, yeah, actually I'm okay with Deku being president, class representative. Deku's actually
one of the lines is, yeah, I could get behind him.
Because the thing is, almost all the other students actually like Deku.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone
except
sort
Bakugo.
Of like, except for Bakugo, but everyone's sort of like, yeah, Deku's a cool kid. Like he's a bit of a goof sometimes, but he's clearly got what it takes.
This is the thing. This is the great little like flip around from their junior high days. It's like where everyone praised Bakugo and the rest of it, and at this point, and it even comes up a little bit later with some fucking fantastic lines. But Bakugo is basically the jackass. No one wants to be anything with him because he's an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an arrogant git. No one likes him.
He's got a.
They respect his ability.
Yeah, they respect he's really powerful and strong, and they know he's smart, but they all think he's an asshole.
They're not entirely wrong.
No, they're not. No, they're right.
They're entirely correct, actually.
Right, and Yaruzuwa, she's like, well, okay, I can be the sort of the assistant. She's like, okay, I can work with Deku. That's fine. And Deku's freaking out, but so they go to lunch. And like, so the press have broken in, and like everyone's like freaking out trying to escape because they think villains might be there. And Ida figures out that it's just the press, and he's like trying to tell people that it's just the press. No one can hear him, and he's like, "Fuck, what the hell do I do?" And then what would Deku do?
Right. What would Deku do?
And then he basically sees Uraraka, and he's like, got it. Uraraka, reduce my gravity. She touches it and does it. He basically leaps up and runs over the crowd to the end of the hallway, leaps up on the door frame above it, and basically tells everyone, it's just the press. Don't worry about it, everybody. Calm down. Everything's fine. I saw it was just the press. It's over there. The teachers are handling it, and everything settles down.
There's a great little scene with the teachers, though, because it's Aizawa and a guy we haven't mentioned yet who shows up a couple of times. I forget his name now. Present Mike.
Yeah.
They call him Present Mike. He's a DJ, and he wears like this boombox like get up around his neck. Essentially, he's got supersonic voice.
Yep.
But he's all Mr. Personality sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's Aizawa and Mike are basically just stood outside the gate saying, "Press, please, just go away. Nothing to see. You're not supposed to be here. You are trespassing." And Mike turns to Aizawa, is like, "No, well, yeah, as trespassers, that does kind of make them villains. Can we beat them up?" He goes, "No, we don't need that kind of press. Just wait for the police."
Anyways, and eventually, they go to their next sort of thing, which is going to be rescue training. They've got this big sort of dome, which has got a bunch of different possible rescue environments. So, like, a flood zone, like a zone set up for like an avalanche has occurred here, like wrecked city, burning city, other stuff. And we're introduced to 13.
Oh, 13.
Who is quite possibly one of the coolest goddamn heroes I've seen in quite a while.
Oh, sorry, just before we get to 13, I should have just brought it up when we mentioned. I didn't realize it was so close. This episode is also the bit that I just mentioned with Bakugo getting teased with some of the greatest lines in the show.
Oh, I did forget one other thing.
I don't want to ever like Bakugo because he's always so angry and a bastard. Hey, fuck you!
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. There's one of the girls called Sue who
Sue is great.
TSU, not Sue.
Sue's
but
awesome.
basically her power set is she's a frog.
Yep.
Quite simply, she is a frog, and she's sat next to Deku and is like, she's actually quite smart. She's figuring out, that she's actually the first one to realize that Deku's power is very similar to All Might's. And Deku's like, no, that's fine, it's fine. And she's going, no, don't worry about it, it's cool. You're cool. You're not like Bakugo. I know he's from your school, but he's just like an angry asshole all the time. She's like, he jumps up. He's like, what did you say? I'll fucking destroy you. And it's like, see?
She's like, see?
Yeah, and like someone of the students points out that except All Might's powers don't break his body, and Sue's like, yeah, that's a good point. The other important bit that I did forget to mention is after the cafeteria thing, Deku basically says, yeah, I really do appreciate your votes, guys, but honestly, Ida's better suited to be class president. So
he's
I'm
much better at this than I am.
He turns over and says, unless anybody objects, I'm basically stepping down for him. And Yaguruza is like, wait, I was in second though. Whatever. I can deal with Ida being president. That's fine.
Yeah, there's one of the other guys as well in the class who's also one of the best combatants. His whole thing is he can harden his limbs basically to like rock. It's just a punching power sort of thing, but it's fairly cool. And he's the one at the other side of the bus is like, yeah. See, we've got a pretty good grade on people right now. I mean, I know, Bakugo's one of the strongest fighters, but it doesn't stop his personality from being hot garbage. And they're just ragging on him, and Deku's absolutely breaking down. He's going, "Why is Bakugo being teased? What's going on here? Why is he the one being
changed?
Why is he the one being picked on?"
Because you're now in a school full of students who are actually well suited to becoming heroes.
Yes, it's a great little scene of just showing Deku realizing that Bakugo might need knocking down a peg or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 13 basically gives a speech at the beginning when they arrive about what heroes actually are, and it's a great speech. I don't want to summarize. I can summarize it, but it's a great speech. She's basically dressed in basically what looks like an astronaut. It's an EVA suit, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her power is dubbed Black Hole. She can basically create a singularity that sucks stuff into it.
Specifically, it sucks it into it and turns it to dust.
Yeah.
They do make a mention of that.
Yeah. And her primary thing is not fighting people, but actually doing rescue stuff, like sucking debris off people and such. It's like, okay. And she
Again,
like,
it's hard to go through her mantra without, like, say, ruining that speech, which I don't want to do. So
yeah. And she's a specialist in disaster relief. Is specifically what she does.
Yeah.
And which is why she's leading up the thing here. All Might is supposed to be here, but he's running a bit late because on the way to school he decided to do a bunch of heroic stuff.
yeah, this is the one I mentioned earlier on when All Might basically stopped too many times to do hero stuff on the way because that's the kind of guy All Might is. He had to get to his work, to his job, to do what he's meant to be doing, but someone needed saving, so he did.
And he's basically got like 15 minutes tops left, and so the principal always tells him, no, don't go to the thing now, just rest up, go towards the end. Aizawa and 13 will be fine. They can handle teaching the class on their own. We'll let them know.
Did we mention the principal's a mouse?
Yeah.
Or a bear or something.
He's a small furry.
When the principal first shows up, it's like, hi, am I a bear? Am I a mouse? Am I some sort of weird thing? I don't know what I am. Hi, how are you?
Because I got so curious, I actually looked it up, and yeah, he's a weird thing. He's basically one of the few non-humans that have quirks. So it's not a purely human race. He is an actual either mouse or bear or something.
He is supposedly actually a mouse.
A mouse that has a quirk to give him human-level intelligence. Which is fucking
very
weird.
Big mouse. Are we sure he's a mouse and not a rat?
No, he's a mouse. He's got so at any rate. So, this is they're getting set up to start the class when all of a sudden a portal opens up, and out walk a bunch of supervillains.
Yeah, the villains. And like we said earlier, I mean, we didn't really go into them, but some of these villains, they're scary in and of their own right, but there's a couple of them, one or two, that it's like, okay, you know how the hero in a lot of stories always saves the day because, the villains know his power set, they know what he can do and are prepared for it, but he uses it in a way that you wouldn't expect. Yeah, these villains do that.
Yeah.
They're clever with their powers.
Yeah, so they're led by Shigaraki, who is a scary motherfucker.
Yeah, Shigaraki's a jerk.
It's not even that. He's very childish in his manner.
Yes, he is.
Very, very childish.
Which makes him a jerk. You ever hang out with a kid, Gav?
Well, I spend most of my time at Games Workshop, so yes. But no, he has a very childish manner. He's a fully grown malicious adult, but he's prone to tantrums. He's prone to a little bit when he doesn't get his own way, and overexcited and happy and all this, and not. I wouldn't say not taking things seriously, but maybe just being a little bit too caught up in things, and rather, if something starts to go his own way, that's it. He's going to win until it doesn't, and then he throws a bit of a strop.
Yeah, but he's a tactical thinker, and he's put together this big sort of invasion because his plan is he knows the students are going to be here for some reason, and he knows All Might's supposed to be here, and his plan is we're showing up here to harass the students and all this stuff, but specifically we're here to kill All Might.
Yeah,
that's our goal. Yeah,
and so he shows up. We eventually find out what his power is. And here's the reason the Press is able to get into school, because his ability is disintegration. If he can touch someone with his hand, and his entire hand has to touch them, he can start causing it to disintegrate into nothingness.
Yeah.
So he's there along with Kurogiri, who's his right-hand man, who is basically his power is warp. He can teleport people and things and such.
He has a very small, well, it's not even a body, his only physical presence is like this sort of metal like suit sort of thing inside this huge purple corporeal cloud. Spends most of his time dressed as a bartender, which is kind of
it's odd. A very elegant suit, actually.
Very elegant look for a cloud, but he's basically a gaseous entity sort of thing.
The other thing I actually really dig about...
He's a Wraith, is what he is.
Yeah, he's a Wraith. The other thing I dig about him is every time you hear him talking, he's very sort of gentlemanly and courteous. Except that he's an evil fucking bastard.
Yeah, he's looking to kill you. He's just going to be polite about it.
Right.
Politeness costs nothing.
Right. And the third important villain there is Nomu. Who is this
you see him in the
hulking
intro.
brute with this sort of beak-like face and sort of an exposed brain, and we eventually find out exactly what his deal is. But yeah, so the villains attack. Kurogiri basically teleports himself up to the students and basically proceeds to try to warp the students across the zone to basically distract everybody and basically to cause panic, and basically they're trying to lure All Might out, basically, because they don't see him.
He also does it specifically because we don't know what these kids can do. We need to break them up.
Right. Yeah. So they've also come through these three main ones. They stay in the middle, but they've also brought in like hordes of like minor
other villains.
Yeah.
Right.
Lesser powered, lesser. I wouldn't say foot soldiers, because some of them are pretty dangerous, but they are, shall we say, less. Their ideas and goals are less grand. You know, they're foot soldiers, but they're still fairly powerful.
Right. Hang on, let me get the guy's name. So yeah, the guy who can harden his body, Kirishima, and Bakugo go leaping at teleport guy. He ports them away right before they get to him. He scatters a bunch. He scatters a bunch of students, but some of them actually got far enough away that they weren't caught in his teleport. And he's basically moved to teleport them when 13 basically says, "No, fuck you," and basically starts sucking him in. All the while telling Ida, what you have to do now. And she and Aizawa tells Ida, "Okay, Ida, what you got to do right now is you go out the door and run. Go back to school. Tell the faculty there to get their asses over here and shut this fucking attack down." And Ida's like, "But I can't run away. I'm the student representative. How can I leave them behind?" It's like, and 13 tells him, "That's the do what you can do to help people. What you can do the thing that only you can do right now, because our radios aren't working, is to get to school and get the faculty." And Ida's like, "Oh fuck, she's right."
Still takes them about 3 hours to fucking set off, but yeah.
Well, it's less time than actually that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like
because you cut around to the various students getting in fights. He basically eventually gets out and runs off thing. A bit of dramatic tension because 13's sucking in the teleport guy, and he basically realizes what she's doing, and basically uses his powers to rupture her vacuum suit and nearly kill her.
Yeah, he basically he opens a portal directly in front of her hand, and opens another one right behind her. So she basically starts to black hole herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a bastard.
Yeah, this is what I mean about the use of the powers that are just fucking brutal.
Yeah.
These villains, they're fighting kids. These are still villains. You know, there's a great line in The Incredibles, if you've seen it.
Yep.
Where they're on the island and Helen is teaching the kids, and you know those bad guys on the Saturday morning cartoons? These aren't them. These will kill you if you give them a chance. And that's exactly what we've got here. These are villains. These are not Saturday morning cartoon bad guys. These are villains. They will kill these kids.
Yep.
They don't care if these kids die while they're fighting their underlings. All they're trying to do is bring out All Might to kill him.
Yep. So Deku, Tsu, and is it Minata, I think?
Yeah, the little purple guy.
End up together out in the middle of the water zone. And they're immediately confronted by this shark villain, and who's basically, I got these kids. They can't possibly think. Oh crap, Frog Girl's really good in the water.
yeah. He's barreling down on Deku, and all of a sudden Sue just comes out and skull bashes him. Yes. Completely KOs him, and she's just like, "Yep, no one's better than me in the water."
Sue is fucking awesome, by the way.
Sue is awesome. Absolutely.
So yeah,
that's one of the great little bits they work out because of that. They realize, well, why the hell would they send you to the water zone?
Yeah, they basically like she actually says that. Deku's like, oh, they clearly don't know our powers.
Yeah, they've just separated us, at random.
Because if they know our powers, there's literally zero chance they'd send you here. They'd send you to the fire zone.
Yeah.
And so Minata is freaking the fuck out because he's a kid and he hasn't really gotten the hang of doing this sort of stuff. Sue is worried.
His power's not really the most offensive either. It's like a fairly utility.
Yeah, he's got these little glob things on his head that he can take off, and he can stick them things, and they will stick to basically anything. They're very bouncy and rubbery, but they're also very adhesive. So they're super sticky and they're bouncy, and that's his power.
Just to clarify, some quirks are better than others.
Yes.
At this point, we've already seen a guy that had elongated fingers, and another really huge fat guy that just had tiny little devil wings on his back. Some quirks, not all quirks are created equal. In fact, Deku's own mom, her quirk is she can levitate small items.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a useful ability.
Yeah, she can force pull her a pen to herself when she needs one.
Yes, it's great for cleaning up Deku's toys.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's still awesome. But yeah.
It's not hero level.
No, and she knows that. That's fine. But the thing is, Minata did get in here.
Mm-hmm.
And his power is actually useful. It's just that he doesn't have a lot of experience using it in a fight.
Well, we see one example of him using it, and it's during the side to side jump.
Yeah.
Bit in the
he uses the bounce side to side really quickly.
Yeah, he just puts two either side of him, and just
goes. Because he's not an idiot, but he's really terrified here, and he's freaking out. Sue is very very clearly scared. But she's reasonably level-headed. She's like, okay, I don't know what to do here.
She's not even really giving the impression of being scared. She's worried, but she's basically...
She's analytical.
Yeah, she's Sue. She's like, okay, these guys are idiots for sending me to the water zone, so what do we do from here?
They're up on a boat now.
Yeah, they're on a boat, but they realize they're surrounded, but no one's attacking. It's like, they don't know what we can do.
Right, but she's
not sure why you backhand one guy across the friggin' zone.
Right. They're like, they know that Sue is dangerous in the water, so they don't want to get her in the water right now. All right. So what do we do? But she doesn't know what to do. But the thing she does is she knows Deku is capable of thinking things like this out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, I trust Deku. Deku, do you have a plan? And Minata's like, what? We just should wait here for the teachers to get here. And Deku's like, we don't know if we have time for that. And Deku does come up with a plan.
The situation is this could be much worse than
he works out. He says, well, look, they've just said, they've come to kill All Might.
They must think they've got a way to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a plan to do that. If they've got a plan to kill All Might, we can't rely on anyone to come and to save us.
Which of course freaks Minata out even more because he's like, well, if they think they can kill All Might, what the hell can we do? And Deku's like, okay, I've got an idea. Okay. So basically, he says, "Okay, Sue, here's what I want you to do." And basically, he has her fling him up in the air, and he basically does a finger flick towards the water at full power, which creates basically a vortex that starts sucking the villains down in towards it, breaking his index finger and thumb. And then Sue comes leaping up with Hinata and grabs Deku, and they go bounding off towards land. As they're bounding away,
fucking his little sticky globes into the vortex.
And the villains are like, whatever, we'll get out. Once the vortex subsides, we'll get out of this. And they're like, wait, why are we all sticking to each other? What the fuck?
Son of a bitch.
So he's basically created a vortex that pulls everyone in, as well as all these fucking sticky balls. And it's just all these water villains are now suddenly just glued together. It's fuck you.
So he heads to land. Eventually, the students are doing much better than the villains anticipated. We get to see a bunch of the students reveal powers. We didn't know exactly how their powers worked.
There's a fair few martial artists and there's a fair few actual fighters in this group.
Right. And we see Yayorozua's ability is that she can basically any sort of material she knows the material composition of, she can extrude from her skin. So she can create weapons and devices and stuff but it's got to come out of her bare skin.
Which is why she's wearing a ridiculously
revealing outfit.
It's like it's your typical like female ninja, mostly straps sort of thing.
She's paired up with, I can't remember her name. She's got these sort of almost like
the
USB
earlobes.
plugs. And she basically can plug them into things so that she can hear sounds through them, and she can plug it into her own costume to create loud, very powerful sonic blasts out of her costume.
Yeah.
And this kid has got lightning powers that can't really control them.
Well, he can unless he releases a supercharge, essentially.
Well, he can channel into his hands, so if he touches people, he shocks them, but he can't blast it outwards safely.
No.
He can blast it all around himself, but he can't direct it.
Yeah.
And Yaruzu basically makes an insulating sheet to cover her and headjack girl. It lets him go full blast.
It's a great scene. She starts pulling this thing out of us, and it's like, what the hell is that? And it's like, I mean, he's like, I can't let go. I'll shock you guys as well. And she starts doing these things. He's like, what the hell is that? It's like insulating blanket. Oh.
Because Yaruzu she's probably the smartest person in the class.
Yeah. And then he turns into a Pikachu.
Yeah, he goes full blast, and unfortunately that also basically screws up his brain chemistry for a while.
Yeah, he short circuits his own brain.
Yeah. Which way did he go?
Yeah, pretty much.
But then another.
I like to lick doorknobs.
Yeah, more villains show up, and they're like, "Oh crap, we're screwed." Todoroki basically completely what the fuck owns his area.
Yeah, it's not even fair.
Yeah.
The villains are like, "Ha! We've got you, kid. Why are we all frozen?"
Yeah, it's like on a landslide, and they're all charging up this thing. He's like, okay, and doesn't just freeze their feet like he did in the training. He freezes their entire bodies, and he's staring at one guy saying, if I leave you in here, your body cells are going to start dying off anyway. If you'd like, I could just cover your face, but that wouldn't be really heroic. And this villain's just like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah, the villains in that group are like, holy fuck this kid. Because he's very clearly saying, yeah, I could kill you all. I don't intend to because I'm not a villain.
Yeah. He's like, literally, he could just finish every single one of them off. There's about a dozen, and he could just go, yeah, I could just kill you all right now. Wouldn't be very heroic, though.
Yeah, Todoroki's actually kind of awesome.
He's fucking scary.
Yeah, Bakugo and Kirishima basically kick a lot of ass because Kirishima's actually a skilled fighter and he can make his arms rock solid, make his arms basically invulnerable.
Yeah.
But eventually All Might does show up because he's gotten kind of bored of talking with the principal and decided to head to the arena and runs into Ida on the way.
Yeah.
And so he comes sprinting in, shows up, and confronts the villains.
It's a great scene as well. It's literally a case of, well, actually, it's a little bit after that. I mean, you get the bit where they get back up on, Midoriya gets back up on land.
Oh, I forgot to mention one important thing.
Aizawa.
We forgot to mention Aizawa. Aizawa basically says, okay, I'm going to go in and tie up these huge number of villains that have not broken off to deal with the students.
Aizawa gets his awesome moment.
Basically, he goes in with his he's got these rat bandages that he can control, and basically he puts his goggles on so the villains don't know which ones he's shutting their powers down because it hides his eyes. And he goes in and starts wrecking house.
Yeah.
Because he goes up to people like, aha, I'm going to use my power, and why is my power not working? And oh god, he's throwing me, oh god, I'm being martial arted to death. Ah!
Aizawa just fucking wrecks.
Yeah, at one point, some of the more gribbly villains go, well, does it work on purely physical powers? Haha! It's like, nope, but you're a big dumb guy, so I'm just going to judo the fuck out of you into these guys whose powers have turned off.
Yeah. And he's going brilliant for him until he runs into
Shigaraki and Nomu.
Yeah, the main three.
Shigaraki and Nomu.
Right.
He goes in to attack Shigaraki with martial arts, and Shigaraki managed to get hold of him and into like an armbar sort of thing with his hand on his elbow.
and starts disintegrating his arm, and you see as the skin starts peeling back to the muscle.
You just see the dude's arm start to disintegrate. It's like, oh, good lord.
He's like, oh, that's not.
This is where we actually have the actual confirmation on what Shigaraki's power is, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And Aizawa gets himself out of this.
Yes.
And then Nomu comes in.
Yeah. Nomu is. Put it this way. In the intro, when the opening credits of the show, when it's doing the whole, introducing the characters, like they all fly at the screen and doing this, that, and other, Nomu is the one that's trading punches with All Might.
Yeah. And we find out why that is in a bit. Yeah. And Nomu basically wrecks Aizawa, just like completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's basically
grabs it back of the head.
Nomu's a much more interesting version of Doomsday.
Yes.
In this fight.
Just smashing Aizawa's face into the floor.
Right.
And
so Deku basically decides
stamping on his arm and all sorts of stuff, just annihilating him.
Right. So Deku and Sue and Minata are on land, right, seeing this, and they're like, "We're doing nothing. We can't take these guys." Before Aizawa was getting his ass kicked, and Deku's like, "They're like, we're gonna move away quietly, keep an eye and see what's happening." And then Aizawa starts getting his ass kicked, and Deku's like, "I gotta do something." Actually, I think Shigaraki notices them.
Yes, he goes after them and he dives at Sue.
Right, and so right, he goes after Sue, and Deku decides, "Fuck this! I don't care if I break my arm. He's not killing Sue."
Yeah, Deku's just seen what happened to to Aizawa's arm.
Right.
And Shigaraki's like reaching hand open for Sue's face, and he's just got this image of her just crumbling in front of his face. So he just dives in.
Winds up
one for all,
and Nomu steps in the way, and he hits Nomu full force, and nothing happens,
including not breaking his arm.
Right,
which is the first hint that he's starting to learn to control. But yeah, he basically hits Nomu full force with one for all, and Nomu's just smiling at him.
Smiling.
Well, I don't think Nomu's really smiling. I think
Nomu always smiles. He just has a grin. He just has a grin on his face. Yeah, he's a bit of a brainless. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything other than what he's instructed to do.
Nomu basically means no brain. So.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's actually like the literal translation.
Yeah, no, I know. I've read the background of it, but yeah. So yeah, he's basically just an automaton. He does what he's told.
Right. All Might shows up at this point. And
it's a great scene.
Dolly comes in, looks at the situation, and the thing that all three of us noticed was he's not smiling.
He's not smiling.
And then he proceeds
even Deku says All Might's here, and he's not smiling.
And All Might proceeds to give a brilliant.
All Might comes in and he's furious.
Yeah.
Because it's not that the villains are doing villainous things; they're going after the kids, and he's like, No. No.
It's not just that he's not smiling; it's that he's grimacing. He's clearly enraged.
It's rage.
And he comes flying in, and like the Mook villains who have gotten back up are like, "All right, fine, yeah. Well, we know he's more powerful than I am, but there are like 30 of us. We can totally think, oh God, why is he crushing all of us?"
You literally, it's like he's up on top of this fucking like stairway when he's walked in, and they're all like, "Yeah, this is the first time I've seen All Might in real, but I'm sure we can handle this loads." You just see a flash where All Might was, and all these guys just fall down, and All Might stood to one side.
And he beats them up. He goes after Shigaraki. Shigaraki's like, "Okay, yes, this is exactly it." And like he comes after them, and Nomu gets in the way, and All Might hits Nomu, and nothing happens. And he's like, "Wait, what?" "All right, you can take that one. You're tough. Another one. Ha ha! Smash!" At which point Shigaraki says, "Ah, I see you might be beginning to figure out what's going on. You see, Nomu's got the ability of
shock absorption."
And All Might's like, "Oh, all right." And so the fight starts going on, and All Might's like, "Fine." He leaps up, grabs it, basically goes up into a spinning pile driver, is going to drive the Nomu into the ground. When Nomu then grabs him back by his wounds.
It's because of
it's a combination of two
villain.
things. Kurogiri does create a gate under him, but Nomu also grabs All Might's wound.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah. All Might's looking to basically German suplex the fuck out of Nomu into the floor to pin him to keep him still. But at the point of impact,
Kurogiri creates a
where
gate.
It should be, Kurogiri opens a gate and brings Nomu back underneath All Might for him to grab him and basically squeeze him in the torso, which is what they don't know is his wound.
Right. And now, so All Might's being crushed in his wound, and he's partway in the portal himself. And Shigaraki basically proceeds to explain his plan.
Because of course he does. He's a villain.
And All Might's sitting there stuck because he can't get out. He's being tied up. He's like, yes, Nomu was designed to be able to tie you up. He's the perfect sandbag. He's basically as strong as you are, and he's designed to be able to absorb your punishment at your 100% of your strength at punishment. So he's got you tied up, and
he's not actually here to kill you.
He's here to tie you up so that Kurogiri can close his portal around your torso while it's partway in him and cut you in half, killing you. And All Might's like, oh crap.
That might actually work.
Which is, again, this is what I mentioned about these guys using their powers in ways you wouldn't expect. Because that's brutal.
Yeah, and then Todoroki shows up and freezes Nomu.
Yes.
The first thing we see is this trail of ice coming along the ground towards Nomu. And it freezes Nomu, and basically All Might's able to wait, and basically that combined with loosens him, and so All Might gets himself out. And at this point, Bakugo comes leaping in, knocks Kurogiri to the ground, and basically has his hand right on top of Kurogiri's metal chest plate thing.
His body, yeah. 'Cause we figured it out earlier on. He was like, when I swung my punch at you earlier, you said, ooh, that was close. Now, you wouldn't have said that unless there was something to hit.
So, right. I know this is vulnerable and you give a damn about it. And if you so much as move, I'm going to blow it the fuck up. And so, yeah. But the fight's not over yet.
This is all at the same time where, again, it's just what Deku does. They managed to get Aizawa out of the harm's way.
Right.
And he was charging back in to help All Might in that situation because he knows All Might's at his limit, first and foremost, and he knew he was really in trouble. And he's basically about to sacrifice himself again when the combatants, the guys that can fight,
I forgot that, yes. So Deku came flying in to try to punch Nomu off of All Might.
Yeah.
But he is stopped by Bakugo, and then Todoroki freezes the guy. But yeah, so Nomu's arm and leg shatter, but he's still moving, and then he regenerates his arm and leg because he's totally fair.
Yeah, because he's a filthy cheater.
He's been built to sandbag All Might. Even if All Might rips him apart, he'll grow back.
Right, and so at this point, Shigaraki sends Nomu to hit Bakugo off of his teleporter because if he doesn't, then that's game over because they can't run away.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he proceeds to, after like All Might stops him, to basically give his why I'm doing this speech about like how heroes are these so-called heroes. You guys are just using your power to put down other people, etc. And going on about this, and it's like all about like proving that violence for violence sake is what you guys are about, etc. And All Might basically says, bullshit you're doing because you enjoy it. And Shigaraki's thinking, God damn it, he figured me out. He doesn't say it because he's better than that.
Again, during that little bit as well, like I said, I like to notice all the little bits. It's like where, Nomu's going for Bakugo, and he's just as fast as All Might. So, no one's seen this coming. Bakugo is just like, what? And then the next thing he knows is he stood next to Deku. He's like, the fuck? And they're like, oh wow, Bakugo, you dodged. That was good. Wait, where's All Might?
The fuck I did.
Yeah, and it's just this dust cloud, and Bakugo's just like, I didn't see a thing. I should be dead.
Yeah.
And to realize he's like, wow, is this like the level the adults are at, the pros are at?
Yes. At which point we have the All Might Nobu fight begins.
Oh,
that's beautiful.
Get a cigar ready for afterwards.
And it is a piece of epic amazingness. And it was All Might's like, oh, so he was designed to handle me at 100% then, huh? Right. can he handle me when I push myself beyond my limits? And Shigaraki's like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's the motto of the school. They've said it during every single episode. Plus Ultra, go beyond.
Yep.
And it's literally a case of All Might starts fighting at 110%.
And 120 and 130.
And the thing I noticed, and the thing that I noticed is that at this point, this is where they're all saying, "What the fuck is going on?" And except for Deku, who is basically watching this fight. And I noticed he's keeping up with this fight. He's watching every single one of All Might's punches. He's saying, "Okay, these are really well aimed, tactical punches."
He's not punching randomly. He's punching at specific targets constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just laying into, and Nomu's going toe for toe for him for a while until the punches just keep coming faster and faster. He's like,
and All Might's, and I love All Might's line of, "Yeah, you said his power is shock absorption, not shock negation," which means he has a limit.
Yeah. Oh, it's glorious. I'm going to put it this way: when we finish recording this, I'm going to watch that fight again. I'm thinking about it now, and I want to see it. Because it is fucking glorious.
It's beautifully animated. They did this great thing where they a lot of it is shot either from the participants' point of view or just over their shoulders, and because it's a goddamn Superman level mega fight, you're watching the scenery and horizon rotate around them as they fight.
Yeah, so you don't. It's not Dragon Ball. You don't sit on the floor and watch these flashes of light dash around everywhere. Bullshit, cheating animation. No, you're over All Might's shoulder, seeing every fucking punch land.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's doing, he's maneuvering the fight around, doing all this stuff. By the way, this is what the Superman versus Doomsday fight should have been.
Yes.
And I'm talking about from the Death of Superman comic book. Which was literally the two of them just standing in the street punching each other in the face.
Yeah.
This is the right way to do this, people.
This is
absolutely.
I keep saying it, but it is fucking glorious. It's the only way to describe this fight.
And it ends with All Might throwing this almighty uppercut and punching Nobu into fucking space, basically.
It's such a hard fucking uppercut. It creates heat and light.
Yes.
and launches him.
Team
Rocket style. You just see the little flash of light in the distance.
The blue, and you get that little twinkle at the end.
it's Nomu's blasting off again. I mean,
yes.
And Shigaraki's standing there, just getting just infuriated, scratching at his neck in sort of a nervous twitch, and he's like, "Okay, this is game over. I've lost, but I'm not letting this be a completely fruitless." I'm going to get something out of this. And he starts moving, and Deku responds, moving faster than Shigaraki can follow. And Shigaraki's like, wait, what the fuck? And I forget exactly it's Shigaraki.
It's a portal.
Right.
He's diving at him, and the portal dude, Kurogiri, opens a portal which Shigaraki reaches through to grab
here's the thing to keep in mind. All Might's spent. He's holding himself together just barely. The only thing that's keeping him from people from noticing he's shifting down is the fact there's so much fucking dust in the air after that fight.
Yeah, the steam coming off is mixing with the thing, but yeah, the whole part of it. Oh, sorry, Replica Rabbit mentions in the chat to move that fast. Deku's just broken his own leg, so he's lost that level of control again. So it's just to show that he's not there just yet to make that dive. But
he's diving in to take out Shigaraki because All Might can't fight anymore, and the villains are pretty sure they can take him at this point.
Yeah, but there's this great bit where, and again, it just shows the personality of All Might. He's like, well, I'm pretty fucked here. I can't afford to take another step, or I might power down in front of these guys. This is ridiculous. First thing he does, takes a step forward.
Yeah, and proceeds to basically start telling him, "All right, bring it, you fucks."
Yeah, he tries. He's got the, put it this way, do not play poker with this man. He has a hell of a poker face.
Yeah, he stands there
like
grinning at them.
In his own head, he's just said, "I can't afford to even take a step forward." Immediately takes a step forward, grinning at them.
Yeah.
And he says, "Bring it," basically.
Yeah.
And what saves them is the faculty finally shows up. And
yeah.
And they intervene, and basically Shigaraki says, "Okay, we can't win here.
All right, time to go."
He makes note of Deku. He's like, I got to do something about this kid.
Well, here's the thing: is Deku's charging in. He Wraith guy ports Nomu's hand through, and the Nomu gets shot in both hands and both legs by some gas-mask gunslinger.
It's not Nomu, Shigaraki. It's Shigaraki. Yeah, the gunslinger shows up and proceeds to call him McCree on him.
Nomu's out of the party at this point.
Yes.
He's off the team.
He's gone.
Yeah, this hero shows up, who goes all McCree on him and shoots the fuck at him with revolvers from ridiculous range. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just basically the point where all the other heroes basically show up just in the nick of time.
Right, and Shigaraki then basically has Kurogiri say, he says, "Okay, we're leaving."
Yeah. What about the underlings? Fuck them.
We're out. We can get more underlings. We've lost. Actually, the important bit is that he's considering fighting more when he's contacted by somebody whom he refers to as Master.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who tells him basically just leave, and he's like, "Okay, yes, Sensei, I will. You're right," and leaves. And then we get a bit of wrap up after that. They find Nomu on the ground, having crashed back down, and Nomu's not reacting to basically anything. They can lead him around.
Yeah, because nobody's giving him orders anymore. But yeah, it turns out All Might just basically punched him vertical.
Yeah.
Because he landed more or less right outside. But admittedly, that's a testament to how tough he is. He took that punch, landed, and he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically where things end.
More or less.
With them telling us that, yes, there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God.
It shows them back at school, going over and saying, we got introduced far more in our first year than we were expecting. Or first month, really, whatever. And All Might reflecting on how, okay, this I knew we had a good group, but we've got a group that could potentially become like the strongest class UA's ever seen.
Yeah. And
thank God this bastard show is getting a fucking second season.
we were so worried this was going to end up just being a one-season show, because it could have left it there if they hadn't put that monologue in at the end.
Yeah. Bastard show.
Yeah. But this needed it. This, like I've said a couple of times, this, if they decide to get behind it, this is the next One Piece. This is the next Bleach. This will go for...
except for the good.
Except for the good. This will go for years. This has so much potential to go for years.
I will say the first season of Bleach was actually good.
Yeah, fair enough. First couple seasons, actually.
Yeah. At any rate, we should wrap things up here. We've been going for a long while.
I knew we would.
Yeah,
we always do when we like the show.
There's a lot of stuff about the show that we all loved.
Yes.
So, I guess final thoughts. We'll start with Gav.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. There's like I said, I've said a few times on this show now that, when it's a negative sort of show, then I kind of get down. There's no negative in this. I'm sure there's it to come. There's going to be loss. I can just, you don't have villains like that without eventually having loss. But, even there, it's that never give up attitude. We've seen it before a dozen times. We've seen it in things like Naruto and One Piece and all the rest of it. But this just seems... One thing I like about the show, it's genuine.
Yep.
Everything in there is genuine reaction. They're real emotions. They're not 2D, one-note characters. Every single character in there, they're a way. They're a certain way. They are a stereotype, but there's a reason they're like that. and there's enough time, even though, there's a lot of characters in this. We're kind of, they've not tried to introduce them all at the same time. We've got a basic rough overlay of some of them, but the ones they focused on, they've developed well. And God, the pacing in this show.
Yeah,
every episode.
Show.
Look, put it this way: if you ever try and watch this show, like in one go, keep an eye on the clock, because every episode feels like it's 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
So much happens, and it's so fast. It feels like every episode feels like it's 10 minutes long, and you should be able to do an entire season in an hour. It's ridiculous how this show feels. But great, yeah, love it. Watch it now. If you took my advice at the start, stopped, went away, watched it, came back, listened to the rest of it, do it again now. Go watch it again. I am.
All right, Eric.
Fucking bastard show. There are lots of things to love about this show. The show it's very well animated. The characters are all amazing. There's a lot to love the show. But the thing that impresses me the most is whatever evil genius they have for a fucking editor in here, because the pacing is amazing. Like Gav said, it feels like 10 minutes, and you're just like, fuck you, bastard show, where's more?
Well, one thing I forgot as well, because I know you're the animation guy, but I didn't see, when we've basically said, okay, that fight at the end with Nomu and All Might is basically, and we debated this, me and Peter think it's better than the Lord Boros fight at the end of One Punch Man.
From a purely technical point of view, I won't say that. It's very well animated, but that was Madhouse going all out. That was beautiful. From a character interaction point of view, yeah, that's like friggin' Luke versus Vader in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but
that was
like
that
you
one
say,
giant fuck yeah moment.
Like you say though, that's Madhouse going all out. Okay, this held its own against that, even from an animation perspective. And I didn't see anywhere else in the show where they skimped on the animation.
No, they didn't do any skimping at all. They did save their budget for a few key moments, which is clear, but they didn't use a lot of the classic animation skimp bits. But like I said, sometime 10 years down the road, we are going to hear about some kid that that sat down to watch all 300 eventual episodes of this, and they find his desiccated corpse a week later.
Yeah.
It's like popcorn. You just keep going, and you don't realize that it's been friggin' 6 hours. Well, at this point, 3 hours. That's how long it is. It's only 12 episodes. But
who did put this out?
I think this is Bones.
It is.
Bones, yeah.
Who
Studios
don't suck.
Yeah.
They're the high end of things. They're not the best, but they're the high end. They're not like
they did Soul Eater, so okay. Full Metal Alchemist, okay.
Yep. No, they're good.
They're good.
They know what they're doing in terms of animation.
They know what they're doing in terms of animation. One thing Bones is really good at is fucking storytelling.
Yeah.
Until they decide it's just, you know what, we don't like that ending. We're gonna make up our own, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
Yeah. So yeah, I concur with these two. It was a fucking brilliant ride. I loved every second of it. As both of them said, the pacing is amazing. The episodes fly by. Here's the thing: yes, the episodes fly by at an incredible pace. They don't feel rushed.
No, they don't.
That's the key.
And every single, how many times? And I know I'm not going to ask you for the answer because I know it was every fucking time. Was when we got to the fucking ending sequence, I was going, "Fuck you,"
because you wanted more.
More.
Yeah.
Right.
Fucking
there's like a mid-episode little, like a stinger that they do.
That's for the commercial
every
break
episode.
in Japan.
Like, yeah, commercial break basically. And I'm like, oh shit, we're halfway through this episode already. And then the next pause, it's like, fuck. No.
Yeah,
for some reason, because it always feels like they come so early. Oh, they're doing the America thing. It was like 3 or 4 breaks in a half hour, because Disney hates me.
So yeah, I fucking adored this show. I had a blast. I love the manga. I love the show. They're getting a second season. I'm hoping they get more. Uh, it's got the dub's great, so I'm hoping it's going to come over to the States onto Toonami.
As I've said, I watched this with you two on the sub, and then I've been listening to the I've been watching the dub as it comes out, and it's about episode 9, I think, is the dub at the moment.
Yeah, I'm all caught up on that as well.
Yeah, and which is the one we mentioned where the press invade Ida's episode, basically.
Yeah.
So it's caught up to there. And it's, like I said, it's been praised by the guys that did the original Japanese version. You know, it's good, and fucking Sabat is it's amazing how many voices that man can do, which is the same voice that sounds nothing like the rest of them.
Yeah, because at first I was like, did they get someone else to do depowered All Might? It's like, no, it's just Sabat going, well, being not bombastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, he does a fantastic voice of that. The guy that the only little niggle I had is they had the guy that voices Deku and Bakugo. They had them voice their younger versions, which, as you know, in a lot of shows like this, you know, because they're older teens, they got away with having guys voice them. If they were young kids, they'd normally bring in girls to do it.
Right.
And unfortunately, what they do is they ask the guys to try and do high-pitched young versions of their voices for the kid versions, and they grate a little bit. They're a little bit, oh God, please end. But that is literally the only.
I didn't find them that bad, but
they're not terrible. But that is literally the only weak point I can pick out in this show. That is a nitpick.
Yeah. But yeah, I do want to finish up my last bits of my thoughts on this.
Sorry, yeah. It's not like I've got a quirk. I can derail anything.
But yeah, I just wanted to finish up by saying, the pacing's great, the animation's great, but I honestly am most impressed by how well they've written the characters, and how much they make you care about them.
Yes.
And just like I've yet to meet somebody who does not end up 100% behind Deku. He's great. Deku is a phenomenal character and a phenomenal protagonist, and I found myself rooting for him the entire way. I love All Might. He has done in a way that, like, yes, this is when Superman is written well. This is what he ends up being like.
Yes.
It's almost somehow like they've managed to do a parody, but a better version at the same time.
Yeah, I want to stress, there are things I love about when Superman's done well. I adore him, and he has been done well on several occasions. The DC animated universe version of Superman is amazing. They do a great job with him. There's individual arcs for Superman that are like, God help me, All Star Superman is amazing.
Holy crap, All Star Superman.
And just Superman, when he's done right, is one of the best superhero characters done. It's just that he's so often people forget what makes Superman great, and
they do him poorly,
and he becomes boring because he's too powerful. And I get that, but when he's written right, he is amazing, and All Might shows exactly that because
he shows vulnerability. All the heroes do.
Right.
I mean, both Aizawa and 13 end up in hospital beds.
Yeah.
At the end. They are completely wrecked. And All Might isn't in much better shape.
But yeah, but that's not why All Might is amazing, and not why All Might could not have the weakness problem and would still be interesting. Because of the ways things he becomes concerned about at that point shift to the people around him. Yeah. And that's when Superman is great. The reason Superman is great is because he is that hero. He's not worried about himself. All Might's not actually worried about himself per se. The reason he doesn't want to depower in front of people is not because it makes him weak. It's because what he stands for. He knows what he stands for, and he knows he's a rallying point for all the other heroes and everybody in the world who want the world to be safe and good. And that if he is broken in that way at the wrong time, it would be a disaster.
Mm.
And that is why All Might is amazing, and he's fantastic. Bakugo is a fascinating character. Because you can see how he could go a number of different ways. And you can see that it's going to be a tough road for him to become an actual hero, but he could end up there. But you can also see him going down the wrong path also, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I remember saying this when we were doing it. I can almost see probably a much better done version, but I can almost see a Naruto Sasuke kind of vibe coming off them.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hope not.
Well,
I hope not as well.
The two of them are so infuriating in exactly opposite ways.
Right.
There's a reason why I don't like Naruto.
Yes, but except unlike Naruto, I actively like Deku, and I actively think Bakugo is an interesting character. I didn't think before Sasuke went evil that I didn't like Naruto as a character very much, and I did not find Sasuke particularly interesting.
I didn't find Sasuke as a character.
Right, so, but ignoring that, and then like Uraraka, she's this wonderful, sweet girl, and clearly has immense potential to be a really good hero. Ida he's such an atypical speedster that I love it, because most speedsters are like, if in superhero comics, are these mercurial, high-strung types, and Ida is this.
Well, Ida's definitely high-strung, but they tend to be very happy-go-lucky.
Right, but
energetic.
Yeah,
everything's gonna be now.
Except he's not rushed ever is the thing, and he's thoughtful and cerebral. And as all three of us just absolutely fell in love with Sue. She's amazing.
Sue's awesome.
Yeah, Sue's great. Sue's my favorite secondary character.
She's got a great line in it where it's like they're basically pooling together and trying to work out. It's the bit on the boat, and they're trying to figure out what each other's powers are, and so they can like formulate a plan. And she's like, "Well, you've seen most of it. I'm basically a frog. I'm good in water. I've got a long tongue, and I can jump really high. Oh, I mean, I can turn my stomach inside out, and it's kind of like acidic. So, yeah, doesn't really do much. So that's kind of annoying, but whatever." It's just like, okay, good to know.
Yeah, I
one of the things I love about Sue is she's gonna say whatever the fuck's on her mind. She doesn't give a fuck what your reaction is.
Yeah. No, she's a great character, and I adore that. So yeah, I cannot recommend this show highly enough. Honestly, this is so far my favorite show of the year. By like a mile. And
it is damn good, yeah.
I highly recommend finding ways to support this monetarily, honestly.
Yes.
Because I think that the message does need to be sent to the studios and to back to Japan that this show can succeed in the States.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's doing really, really like it's above and beyond number one in the manga, in Shonen Jump, but it's struggling with the anime sales.
The anime sales aren't doing as well, especially in Japan. The anime is doing well in the States, but not nearly as well in Japan. I don't know why, but I'm hoping
it's too awesome for Japan.
I don't know. Either way, though, I adore this show, and I'm praying it keeps up its quality.
Yeah,
because it's great. The manga, I will say this, from where it has gone in the manga, I'm up to date on the manga. It is still really strong, and they've done some amazing stuff from where it's left off. And I cannot wait. I'm praying that we get to the point where the manga is currently in the show, because wow. If you at all enjoy reading manga, I recommend getting Shonen Jump and checking this out, because it's that fucking good. Get the tankobon, whatever. But I think that's going to do it for our first special episode of 3 Minute Anime. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't watch My Hero Academia. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Check the show out. Do it. Then buy it.
Now.
Then throw money at
Yeah. Buy it 3 times and then wire them more money. Just make them keep making more.
Once we actually do finish watching Irresponsible Captain Tyler, we'll be back for the next episode. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. That way you know when new episodes are going up. We record on Monday nights here on hitbox.tv/mecha-gm. I tweet out when we're about to record or when I'm doing anything on the stream, so feel free to follow me on Twitter to know when we're doing that. My Twitter handle is @MechaGM. If you need to get a hold of Gav, Gav's Twitter handle is @SonicGav with a K, and Eric does not exist on the internet.
The internet is not real.
Right. Until next time, guys, that's it for us. Say goodnight, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Bye.